Chapter 144. The special reporter of QQ Music is surnamed Lei Lei Lei. She is not tall, at most about 1.6 meters, but she is quite sexy and mature, with an oval face, willow leaf eyebrows, big eyes and dimples, and when she smiles she shows two small canine teeth, with a bit of girlish innocence, giving people the feeling that she is not in the entertainment circle, but an entertainment reporter. It's really a pity. Lei Lei's voice is very pleasant to hear, sweet and soft, with the unique charm of Jiangnan women. It also makes Lu Chun feel very cordial. Teacher Lu Chun, what made you finally embark on the road of music? At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, in the reception room of Lu Chun's studio, Lu Chun and the female reporter from QQ Music sat face to face. The 2 cups of freshly brewed coffee on the glass coffee table were surrounded by white mist, and the air was filled with the faint aroma of authentic coffee beans. Compared with the fragrant coffee, Lei Lei was obviously more interested in Lu Chun. She sat down and couldn't wait to turn on the recording pen and asked the latter her first question. Lu Chun said with a smile, "I don't dare to be a teacher. Reporter Lei is more used to calling me by my name. Have a cup of coffee first. Someone gave me a coffee from Brazil. Tastes pretty good. Let's talk slowly." The title of teacher was originally a respectful title in the circle for those seniors who have made their debut early and have been famous for a long time. Later it was a little overused, but anyone with a little bit of status can call him, especially suitable for those who have no deep relationship. Lu Chun is a newcomer who has just made his debut. Originally, he did not have such qualifications. Even if he has written good works, his qualifications in the circle are too shallow. It is already great for others to call him Da Chun or Brother Chun. However, he was positioned as a judge in the 2nd season of Singing China by Beijing Television. Even after the audition, his status in the industry has suddenly risen, and he is no longer just a newcomer. In addition, the circle has a lot of respect for singers and songwriters, so it is not too much to call him teacher. Many things in the entertainment circle are so wonderful, and people who are not in the circle often do not understand the connotation. But Lu Chun will not confidently think that he deserves it. Face was given by others, but face was lost by oneself. Maintaining a humble and cautious attitude would allow one to go further. As expected, Lei Lei had a better impression of Lu Chun's humble attitude. She relaxed and took a sip of her coffee. The female reporter's eyes lit up and she praised, "Not bad." Lei Lei often drank coffee. Although she was not a coffee expert, she could still distinguish between good and bad tastes. Lu Chun smiled and said, "If reporter Lei likes it, then you can bring a jar back. Anyway, I'm just presenting Buddha with borrowed flowers." His coffee was sent by Wenzuan, and there were 2 cans in total. Yesterday after the test at EMI, Lu Chun didn't let the other party treat him to dinner. The brokerage director probably felt very embarrassed, so he insisted on sending him 2 cans of Brazilian coffee beans. Lu Chun asked Chen Xian to buy some tools to grind the coffee powder to serve the guests. The effect was really good. As the saying goes, after eating a cup of delicious coffee, Lei Lei's attitude became a lot more easygoing. "Then I'll call you Lu Chun, but you can't call me Reporter Lei." Lu Chun smiled. "Okay, Sister Lei Lei." Lei Lei is about 4 or 5 years older than him, so it's definitely right to call her sister. To become a star idol, it's very important to have a good relationship with media reporters. Otherwise, if others slander you in newspapers, magazines or on the internet every 2 or 3 days, no one can stand it. The real bigwigs often had a good relationship with the media. For example, Tan Hong had not been involved in any scandals for so many years. Part of the reason was that he had a good character, but the other reason was that he had deep connections in the industry. How to properly build a good relationship with the media. Chan Jinhao taught Lu Chun and Lu Xi a lot of experience respectively. Lu Chun has rich experience in 3 dream lives, and it's not difficult to understand at all. After he and Lei Lei talked and laughed and got closer to each other, they got down to business and entered the formal interview session. The question goes back to Lei Lei's previous question. Lu Chun thought for a moment and said, "My earliest exposure to music came from my parents' expectations of me. I learned piano when I was a child. Probably because I wasn't talented enough, I didn't learn much, so I gave up. Later I liked the guitar, so I learned it myself, but at that time I felt that playing the guitar was easy to chase after girls. Speaking of this, Lei Lei showed a knowing smile. Many boys learn to play and sing, just to be handsome and cool to attract the attention of girls, and this trick is very effective. Lei Lei couldn't help remembering that when she was in college, there were boys who sang for her downstairs in the dormitory. Unfortunately, the other party didn't have Lu Chen's talent, nor did he have Lu Chen's handsomeness. Otherwise, she might have agreed. Lu Chen continued. When I was in college, something happened to my family, so I came to Beijing early to work and became a singer in a bar. That was when I really started on the road of music. Lei Lei said, you once said in the Singing China competition that your dream is to make a lot of money and want to help your family pay off their debts. So, is the motivation for you to embark on the road of music from your responsibility to your family? Lu Chen said calmly, you can say that. After winning the championship of Singing China, Lu Chen is a celebrity in his hometown of Binhai City. So soon on the Waves blog, someone revealed his family's situation. At that time, Lu Chen's father Lu Qingsheng was also a well-known entrepreneur in Binhai. His business failure was entirely due to bad luck. He was affected by the international financial storm, which led to the breakage of the capital chain. Lu Qingsheng's reputation has always been very good in the local area. He is straightforward, generous and trustworthy. So many relatives, friends and partners are willing to lend him money. In the end, his death from illness was purely unexpected. The Lu family's experience made people sigh, but the most surprising thing was that Lu Qingsheng's widow, Fang Yun, Lu Chen's mother, resolutely took up the huge debt, so as not to let those relatives and friends who trusted Lu Qingsheng suffer losses, nor to let Lu Qingsheng's reputation be tarnished. But anyone who knows about this has great admiration for Fang Yun. Trustworthiness and reputation have always been the virtue of the Chinese nation. Therefore, when Lu Chen talked about his dream of making money at the Singing China competition, not only did it not make people feel the slightest bit disgusted, but it made people feel his sincerity, confidence and courage. The song Chasing Dream with a Childlike Heart sings Lu Chen's indomitable spirit in the face of life's difficulties. And Zhuang Hao, who questioned Lu Chen's dream, has had his blog blown up by countless people. Even the Xiaomei magazine, where he works, could not withstand the pressure from netizens and had to apologize on behalf of Zhuang Hao. Now this so-called editor-cum-music critic had even shut down his own blog, completely disappearing without a trace. Lei Lei mentioned this matter, but also intended to correct Lu Chen's name. After all, the latter has not publicly explained the situation. She continued to ask, what made you have such rich and colorful music ideas and write such good songs as In the Spring and You Who Sat Next to Me? What is your source of inspiration? Why do you have such a different style of expression in your creation? And what is your attitude towards others' doubts? Although she has a good impression of Lu Chen, as the interview went on, reporter Lei's professional nature was inevitably exposed. A series of questions hit Lu Chen like a storm, which was a bit aggressive. But she didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Since he has stepped into the entertainment industry and become a popular star, Lu Chen is bound to accept all kinds of interviews in the future, and face more tricky, fierce and even vicious questions than she did. If he can't cope with the one-on-one special interview now, there will be plenty of trouble in the future. Therefore, Lei Lei deliberately speeded up her speech, and the questions she asked were targeted, thus forming a sense of oppression. She wanted to see how Lu Chen would deal with it. In fact, since Lu Chen participated in Singing China, the questioning voice against him on the internet has not completely disappeared, mainly focusing on his creative style. The most typical one is In the Spring, which is not like a 22-year-old young man can write. And Lu Chen's performance was not as nervous or flustered as Lei Lei imagined. Lu Chen smiled calmly. He didn't answer Lei Lei's question directly. Sister Lei Lei, let me first tell you the origin of my name on Waves blog, Lu Chen FMX. Lu Chen's Inspire blog ID is Lu Chen FM. At present, the number of fans following him has exceeded 5 million, which can be regarded as reaching the entry standard of Big V. The number of forwarding, comments and likes of his blog post is quite high, but no one knows the real meaning of this ID. Lei Lei was suddenly stunned. She couldn't figure out what Lu Chen's blog account had to do with her question. However, her reporter's intuition told her that Lu Chen must have something to do with it. So she nodded with a smile on her face. Lu Chen explained, Luchan FMX. Luchan represents myself while FMX represents 3 other people. Their names are Fangmingi, Mo Ran and Su Bo. They are all good teachers and helpful friends in my life and music. They let me know a lot of principles of life. They let me understand the importance of persistence. When selling the copyright of In the Spring, Luchan told others about Su Bo's story. At that time he once made a vow in his heart to make Su Bo's name a legend in the world. But not only Su Bo, Fangmingi and Mo Ran were also indispensable. He felt that without any one of them, his life after experiencing the long dream would no longer be complete. So, taking advantage of the opportunity of an interview with QQ Music, Luchan selectively told the story of the 3 of them. Not just to explain. It was memories, remembrance, and also a memorial. Chapter 145. Lei Lei became a reporter after graduating from university. She had been in the entertainment industry for 3 years. Of course, she couldn't compare with those old foxes in terms of experience, but she had interviewed many celebrities and idols. Among them, most of them were newly debuted artists. But Lei Lei had never seen a newcomer like Luchan, who was already famous in the industry and had considerable popularity. But in front of her, he was humble and not humble. His words were polite and not hypocritical, giving people a feeling of a spring breeze. Moreover, he was very handsome, not the kind of young and fresh meat that was popular nowadays. He was stylish and manly. Listening to Lu Chen's story, it was more like sharing his life experience. Unconsciously, Lei Lei put aside her professional instincts and began to listen very carefully. She was also deeply moved. Lu Chen's story was not very long. It ended after pointing out the origin of his creative style. Lei Lei came to her senses and couldn't help saying, "You are very lucky. In this life, it was great luck to have a good teacher and helpful friend, but Luchan had 3. Luchan said frankly, "Yes, I am very lucky. That long dream was definitely a miracle, and it was also his luck." Lei Lei sighed and said, "No wonder you can create such excellent works. Then how do you deal with other people's doubts?" Luchan replied without hesitation, "Go my own way and let others talk. In the entertainment industry, you should be able to bear as much honor as you can bear. Go your own way, let others talk." Lei Lei's eyes lit up. "You have also read Dante's Divine Comedy?" Luchan smiled, revealing 8 white and clean teeth. Lei Lei was a little dizzy because Luchan's smile at this moment was as bright as the sun. She couldn't help blushing and quickly changed the topic. "Then what do you think about the future?" After that, the interview returned to a routine rhythm. Lei Lei asked about Luchan's future career plans, whether he had plans to release an album, and even asked about Chun Fair. In October, Chun Fair would hold a concert in Beijing, and Luchan was one of the scheduled guests. She even asked about Luchan's height, weight, hobbies, and criteria for choosing a girlfriend. Luchan answered as much as he could, but when it involved his privacy, he just smiled and didn't answer. Lei Lei was not annoyed. The atmosphere during the interview was very harmonious. When the interview ended, it was already 4:30 in the afternoon. Luchan stood up and said, "Lei Lei, let's have dinner together tonight. There's a good restaurant here." Lei Lei pursed her lips and smiled. "I really want to, but I have to rush my draft. Maybe next time." Seeing that she was not pretending to be polite, Luchan did not force her. He called Lushi over, and the 2 of them walked Lei Lei down the building. Before leaving, Lushi gave Lei Lei a red packet, the rules of Jianghu. There were 10 banknotes in the red packet. If it wasn't for Chan Jianhao's guidance, she really wouldn't have known that there was such a rule, let alone the correct amount of money. The thickness of the red packet was different for different reporters. Lei Lei didn't refuse, but after going back, she must help Luchan put in more good words. She even thought of the title of the exclusive interview, which was, "Go Your Own Way, Let Others Talk." After watching the reporter from QQ Music Network leave, Lushi snorted softly and said to Luchan, "If you have nothing to do in the future, you should deal with this woman less in the future." Previously, when Lei Lei interviewed Luchan, Lushi was not present. However, when she saw him off, out of a woman's keen intuition, she found that Lei Lei seemed to have a different kind of affection for Luchan. This discovery made her sister a little vigilant. She didn't want to interfere with Luchan's emotional life, but the entertainment industry was so chaotic. There were many bad women. If Lu Chan was entangled by one of them, it would be endless trouble. Lu Chan said with a wry smile, "Sister, reporter Lei is not a bad person. I have a sense of propriety." Lu Shi gave him a white look. "I'm just reminding you. Anyway, you just have to pay attention to yourself. In addition, don't forget that you have to sign a contract with EMI tomorrow. Is the work ready?" "I've been ready for a long time," Lu Chan said confidently. "You just wait to collect the money." Compared with Lu Chen's strong self-confidence, Wen Ziyuan is too guilty. The day before yesterday, he was forced by Zhang Qiong to the top of his head, and agreed to Li Zhigao's request to apply for funds to buy songs for Tang Qiao. As a result, after using his relationship, Wen Ziyuan really got a budget of 100,000 yuan. This kind of speed was usually enjoyed by the top artists in the company, but Wen Ziyuan was not happy at all, because after he calmed down he realized that he was too impulsive. Now Wen Ziyuan is completely tied to Tang Qiao and Li Zhigao. If Lu Chen's work is worth the money, it's okay. If it's ordinary, then Wen Ziyuan, the director's position, can no longer sit on it. Look at the kind of people sitting in the listening room today. The biggest piece is Song Sun, the deputy general manager of EMI, and the direct boss of Wen Ziyuan's immediate boss. Then there is the manager of the brokerage department, the manager of the public relations department, and 2 directors of the brokerage department. Wen Ziyuan knows very well that these 2 guys, who are on the same level as him, are definitely here to see him make a fool of himself. In addition, there is also Wan Xinghua, a music consultant of Tianjai Workshop. Wan Xinghua is also a well-known musician in the circle. He has produced many albums. He serves as a consultant to a number of entertainment media and music production companies. He is a good friend of Song Sun. Song Sun invited Wan Xinghua, saying that he was checking Lu Chen's works, but his real purpose is unknown. Just a song. There's no need to be so grand, even if it's worth 250,000 yuan. In addition, Zhang Qiong and Zhang Shuhui are also here. According to the rules, the 2 shouldn't be here at all, but Zhang Qiong's relationship is strong enough. Wen Ziyuan knows very well that if others are here to see him make a fool of himself, then Zhang Qiong is ready to knock a nail on his coffin. The latter has been coveting his position for a long time. As for Li Zhigao, he is not qualified to sit in the listening room and has long since shrunk to the corner. What a big battle. Although the air conditioner in the listening room is very low, Wen Ziyuan's sweat is still coming out. "Director 1, how long do you want everyone to wait?" After sitting for a few minutes, Zhang Qiong asked in a strange tone. "Several managers don't have so much free time. Mother asterisk cur. Did I invite them here?" Wen Ziyuan cursed in his heart. He wished he could slap this woman to the ground on the spot and use his majestic body, which weighs 200 pounds, to XXO and then out it. Of course, he just thought about it, and he had to explain to Song Sun with a smile. "Manager Song, I'll go and urge them." At 1 o'clock this afternoon, Lu Chun brought people over. The 2 sides have signed a formal copyright transfer contract, and the song work has been handed over to Tang Qiao. She paid 100,000 yuan herself. As a songwriter, Lu Chun behaved professionally enough. He didn't just sell the song and get the money, but gave Tang Qiao separate guidance on singing his own work. After all, only the original author can fully express the essence of the work. After the guidance, they also had to go to the listening room for another audition. Lu Chun even prepared the accompaniment tape. What Wen Ziyuan didn't expect was that Song Sun actually came over with a large team of people at this time. He didn't affect the communication between Lu Chun and Tang Qiao. He sat in the listening room and waited to listen to the new song. Zhang Qiong, who was haunting him, also appeared here with her niece. At that time, Wen Ziyuan felt as if there were 10,000 grass mud horses galloping through his heart. But what's done can't be undone. Even if he wanted to go back, it was too late. The brokerage director was really frustrated in his heart. All his hopes could only be pinned on Lu Chun. If he wants to blame, he can only blame himself for being too impulsive. "Don't worry." Song Sun waved his hand gracefully and said, "Let's not disturb other people's work. Let's wait a little longer." The deputy general manager of EMI is in his 30s. He is elegant, but he is decisive and capable. He has won the trust of the parent company's board of directors and has great prestige in the company. Sitting next to him, Wan Xinghua pushed his black-rimmed glasses and said, Your company is really willing. 250,000 yuan for a song is really a big deal. But this Lu Chan is still very creative talent. I hope it's worth the money. Wan Xinghua and Song Sun are old friends. When they heard that EMI offered a high price to invite Lu Chan to sing, they had a strong interest in coming over to have a look and get to know the new singer and songwriter, who has recently become famous. He didn't know the inside story, but he felt that the price was too high, and it was inevitable that he would have a picky idea. In the spring, you who sat next to me, and so on are good works, but Lu Chan is a newcomer. A newcomer wants to reach the sky in a single bound. Where are the seniors in the circle? In Wan Xinghua's view, Lu Chan's approach is somewhat against the rules. Of course, it's normal for young people to rely on a little talent to not know the immensity of heaven and earth. At present, there is a lack of original works in China. The rise of Lu Chan is also a good thing, so it's better to encourage him. It should be known that Tan Hong and Chen Fei, two big stars, appreciate Lu Chan very much. Wan Xinghua thought to himself, but Song Sun smiled and said nothing. This time, the company's buying songs from Lu Chan is more complicated, and even involves internal power struggles. He personally brought people here mainly to deter them. You guys are fighting, but if it affects the development of the company, be careful that I will fall out with you. Song Sun's eyes quickly swept over the faces of Zhang Qiong and Zhang Shuhui, who were sitting on the side without warning. Zhang Qiong noticed it and immediately showed a flattering smile. This woman. Song Sun snorted softly in his heart. At this time, the door of the listening room was pushed open, and a young man in a t-shirt and jeans came in with a girl in a white skirt. Both of them were taken aback when they saw that the room was already full. When Xian, however, was like being pardoned. He quickly got up and greeted, "Teacher Lu Chan." Chapter 146. What a big lineup. Lu Chan didn't expect so many people to come to the listening room, and he couldn't help but be surprised. He looked at Wen Xian with puzzled eyes. What's going on? When Ziyuan wiped his sweat and explained, "Teacher Lu Chan, let me introduce you, this is..." He first introduced Song Sun to Lu Chan, then Wan Xinghua, the manager of the brokerage department, the manager of the public relations department, and so on. As for Zhang Qiong and Zhang Shuhui, Wen Xian directly ignored them and pretended not to see them. "You've stepped on my face, do you really think I'm made of mud?" Zhang Qiong was so angry that her eyebrows were raised. But with so many senior executives of the company present, she didn't dare to lose her temper. As for the others, no matter what they thought in their hearts, they were polite to Lu Chan. In the pop music world or entertainment industry, powerful songwriters are still very respected. In terms of status, they are no less than those star idols. Of course, their fame outside the circle is much worse. Ordinary people will only remember the singer when they listen to songs, and basically no one will pay attention to who the author is. But in the circle, Lu Chen's status as an author is higher than that of a singer. So even Song Sun, the deputy general manager of EMI, took the initiative to shake hands with Lu Chan with a smile. Of course, this doesn't mean that they think that the song Lu Chan gave to Tang Xiaoqiao is necessarily worth a high price of 250,000 yuan. Because Lu Chen's position has just been established and is not stable enough. After the pleasantries, Wan Xinghua couldn't wait to ask, "Mr. Lu Chan, I heard that you wrote a new song for EMI?" Lu Chan was a little surprised and didn't understand why the other party would be so eager. This is the music consultant of Tianjai Workshop. He is an outsider here, but Wen Xian respects him very much. Lu Chan maintained his composure on the surface and said with a smile, "Yes, I'm preparing to sing. Teacher Wan, please give me some pointers." Wan Xinghua was not polite and immediately nodded and said, "Well said." To Lu Chan, he was considered a senior in the industry and was qualified to guide Lu Chan. Lu Chan turned around and said to the confused Tang Xiaoqiao, "I'll play the accompaniment, and you can try it again." Previously in Wen Ziyuan office, Lu Chan analyzed the music score for Tang Xiaoqiao, as well as the stylistic characteristics of his work, as well as the details that need to be paid attention to when singing. Tang Xiaoqiao is talented in music, and the difficulty of this song is not very high, so she comprehended it very quickly, so she came to the listening room to practice singing. As the first client of the studio, Lu Chan was willing to spend some time and energy to make a name for himself in the industry. "I just didn't expect that there were so many people waiting to listen to the lecture, and they are all high-level EMI." Tang Xiaoqiao was even more frightened. Lu Qin's words brought her back to reality. She hurriedly walked to the microphone, still looking a little uneasy. Lu Qin took out the USB flash drive that had already been prepared, inserted it into the playback device, and pressed the play button. The prelude to the music sounded. The song was written a long time ago, and the accompaniment was made by Lu Qin himself with a software synthesizer yesterday. It was not very good, but there was no problem in using it for Tang Xiaoqiao's audition. The real arrangement has to be solved by EMI itself, which is not included in the contract. Following the rhythm, Tang Xiaoqiao opened her mouth, but did not sing the lyrics. Her face suddenly turned red. As a singer from a talent competition, Tang Xiaoqiao's performance should not have been so poor. But this song has placed too many expectations on her, and the pressure in her heart was very heavy. And the people sitting in front of her listening to the song were many senior executives of the company, which made her too nervous. Zhang Shuhui, who was sitting on the edge of the listening room, couldn't help showing a look of ridicule. In Zhang Shuhui's eyes, there was no Tang Xiaoqiao at all, even if the latter belonged to the same group as her. Tang Xiaoqiao actually bought a song from Lu Qin, which made her very upset. Even if this lady doesn't want it, you can think about it. Can you be worth 250,000 for a song? So, she followed her aunt here to see Tang Xiaoqiao make a fool of herself. As a result, Tang Xiaoqiao really made a fool of herself. Zhang Qiong directly sneered. Li Zhigao's old face wrinkled into a bitter gourd, desperately winking at Tang Xiaoqiao, indicating the other party to calm down. In fact, he put more pressure on Tang Xiaoqiao. Song Sun, Wan Xinghua and others all frowned, feeling that Tang Xiaoqiao's psychological quality was very poor. Even if such a newcomer gave her a good song, could she really hold it up? Wen Zion's smile was uglier than crying. At a critical moment, if Tang Xiaoqiao dropped the chain, where would he put his face? Lu Qin was quick-witted and immediately pressed the stop button. He said to Tang Xiaoqiao, "You don't have to be nervous. This song was specially written for you. You will surely be able to sing it well. Don't have any pressure. Sing it naturally and relax. Anyway, it's just the beginning of practice." Specially written for Tang Xiaoqiao? Several of the company's top executives, who knew the inside story, secretly shook their heads and even curled their lips in disdain. It was really boasting without a draft. In 2 days, Lu Qin could write a good song specially for Tang Xiaoqiao? It was estimated that it was either a work that had been written a long time ago, or it was a last-minute rush. Lu Qin's statement was nothing more than to show that EMI didn't spend money in vain. This kind of small trick was not worth mentioning in their eyes. Tang Xiaoqiao, however, relaxed. After all, she was not a pure newcomer who had just come out. She had performed well in the talent competition before. Once she calmed down, she became more natural and reached for the microphone. Seeing this, Lu Qin replayed the accompaniment. This time, Tang Xiaoqiao did not drop the chain again and sang along with the accompaniment. "It's nice to think about it all night, making me unable to sleep. Why do you always want to escape? If lovesickness can't be cured, I can only blame myself for not being able to find the antidote. You never gave me a sign of love. Oops, I fell earlier than you. You love less than me, doomed to suffer. No, the elegance is gone. The restless heartbeat. The whole world can hear it." Just the first part made everyone present except Lu Qin moved. They were all insiders. Even if they were not professionals, they all had the basic ability to appreciate a song. In the simplest terms, it was not good to hear and did not have the potential to become popular. The new song Lu Qin wrote for Tang Xiaoqiao is very special. Its style is cold and has a strong personalized color. Different from ordinary love songs or fast songs, it has a heartwarming charm in it. Tian. At first glance, it was a refreshing feeling. What was admirable was that the characteristics of Tang Xiaoqiao's voice were revealed through this song. That kind of nasal voice, full of the flavor of a proud little girl, contains the ethereal temperament of an elf who has fallen into the world. If there was a shortcoming, it was that she did not sing smoothly enough. But she had just started practicing. "Don't be so proud. I may leave at any time. You haven't held my hand yet. The night is too long and the moonlight is bound to get cold. What to do? You owe me a hug. And I smiled at you again and again. Why haven't you seen my good?" As soon as Tang Xiaoqiao finished singing the chorus, Wan Xinghua slapped his thigh and shouted, "Good!" This chorus was very wonderful. It suddenly raised the level of the song, and the climax was very in place. This song was written for Tang Xiaoqiao, and it was also written for thousands of girls in their teens and 20s. Based on Wan Xinggua's many years of experience, it was difficult for this work to become a big hit, but it was not a problem at all. With proper publicity and promotion, it was enough to create a new star. Song Sun's face showed a smile. He liked this song. Although Tang Xiaoqiao's singing was still very rusty and the accompaniment was very rough, the beautiful melody of the work has been shown. It was nothing more than a matter of later arrangement and practice. Good songs are hard to find, and this song was worth buying. Several managers and supervisors looked at each other speechless. They originally wanted to come to see a joke, but they became witnesses instead. Witnessing a newcomer about to stand out. Wen Zion and Li Zhigao, on the other hand, felt as if they had returned to heaven from hell. Especially Wen Zion, he was simply comfortable. He knew that his risk was successful, the money was not spent in vain, and his position could still sit firmly. As for Zhang Qiong, Wen Zion looked at the other party and was not surprised to see the latter's astonished and ugly face. It was as if he had drunk 3 bottles of iced mineral water under the scorching sun, cool from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet. All the depression that had accumulated in his heart had vanished into thin air. If it weren't for the presence of so many high-level executives, Wen Zion really wanted to laugh and declare his victory. But Zhang Shuhui, who was sitting next to Zhang Qiong, was in an extremely bad mood. She pinched her fingers hard, bit her lips and stared at Tang Xiaoqiao, who was singing better and better, as if there were countless poisonous snakes biting in her heart. This song should have belonged to her, and she should have stood in that position. As a result, this song was snatched away by Tang Xiaoqiao, who she had taken a fancy to at all. It was so unfair. At this moment, Zhang Shuhui even had a trace of resentment towards Zhang Qiong. If it weren't for her aunt's strong opposition, how could she miss this opportunity? Making me unable to sleep, why do you always want to escape? After singing a song, Tang Xiaoqiao's face was full of confidence, and her eyes were bright and full of joy. After singing the whole song once, Tang Xiaoqiao really understood the brilliance of this song. She liked this song, which was really tailor-made for herself. It was undoubtedly her luck to get this work. Clap, clap, clap. There was a sudden burst of applause in the listening room. Song Sun clapped his hands with a smile on his face. He stood up and asked, "What's the name of this song?" Tang Xiaoqiao looked straight at the other party, summoned up her courage and said, "So proud, its name is So Proud." Then Tang Xiaoqiao looked at Lu Chun with gratitude, because it was him who made her so proud. Note: So Proud lyricist. Li Manting/composer. Lu Dajiang. Chapter 147. Tang Xiaoqiao has always been a very proud girl. But her pride has always been hidden in the deepest part of her heart, and it has never been easily revealed. Because her family is very ordinary, if she puts her pride on her face, she doesn't know how much trouble it will cause. Tang Xiaoqiao is also a very smart girl. Since signing with EMI, she has been working very hard to learn and strive for every opportunity. As long as it is the work arranged by the company, even if it is hard and tiring, she will seriously complete it. But even so, it was still too difficult to stand out in the talent agency. Li Zhigao, the agent arranged for her by the company, was honest and had a good character, but he was not good at scheming and could not help her too much. More often, Tang Xiaoqiao can only rely on herself. So when she inadvertently learned that Zhang Qiong and Zhang Shuhui forced Wen Zion to give up buying songs from Lu Chun, she resolutely pulled Li Zhigao together to apply to the latter. She wants to pay for Lu Chen's work with her own money, because her keen intuition tells Tang Xiaoqiao that the opportunity she has been waiting for has come. Under Tang Xiaoqiao's insistence, Wen Zion agreed to her request and helped her apply for a sum of money so that she could successfully get Lu Chen's new work. So Proud. What a good name. Although the song may not have much connotation, and the melody is not invincible. Maybe it's just nice to listen to, but after Tang Xiaoqiao sang it once, she knew that the song was too suitable for her. And I've smiled at you again and again. Why haven't you seen my goodness yet? On the surface, this lyric describes the relationship between men and women, but isn't it also a portrayal of her life experience? Tang Xiaoqiao has waited so hard for so long, and the goddess of luck smiled at her for the first time. Her dream is to let her restless heartbeat be heard all over the world. Tang Xiaoqiao held the microphone in her hand hard, as if she was holding the whole world. And at this moment, she can finally show herself in front of everyone. A little bit of pride. The applause in the listening room continued and warm. There's no other way. Song Sun has been applauding, which manager and supervisor below dared not to follow. Even Zhang Qiong had to pinch her nose and clap a few times. Her exquisitely made-up face was about to contort, and she was practically gnashing her teeth. Song Sun took 2 steps forward, extended his hand to Lu Chan and said, "Teacher Lu Chan, thank you for composing such an outstanding work for our company's artist. It's worth it." His attitude was different from before. Although he was polite at first, it was purely out of courtesy and etiquette, and not out of respect from the heart. Now that Lu Chan had proven his strength, even the vice president of the agency had to treat him seriously. A good song can make a newcomer famous. Lu Chan smiled faintly, shook hands and said, "Manager Song, you're too polite. It's my responsibility to provide good works." Lu Chen's humble attitude made Song Sun secretly admire him. He was even more determined to establish a long-term friendly relationship with him. An outstanding songwriter at the peak of his creative career was a real gold mine. Anyone who had experienced the golden age of domestic pop music in the 1980s and 1990s would understand this. Song Sun said to Tang Xiaoqiao next to him, "Your name is Tang Xiaoqiao, right? You sang this song very well. The cost of buying the song was fully reimbursed by the company. I'll give you a single first, and if the result is good, I can consider making an album." Song Sun knew very well the twists and turns in the process of buying songs from Lu Chan this time. Zhang Qiong tried to steal a chicken but ended up losing rice. The vice president was happy to see a joke, and he was not afraid of exposing his family's dirty linen. Since he knocked, he must knock hard enough, otherwise how could he get a good effect? Tang Xiaoqiao was so happy that her heart almost jumped out. She quickly bowed and said, "Thank you, Manager Song, I will work hard." She was still too tender. She didn't expect that the song she bought could be shared with corresponding rights and interests. Song Sun didn't take any risk and easily took back this part of the benefits. He just stuffed a sweet jujube in passing. Of course, from another point of view, without the support of the company, even if she got a good song, it would be very difficult for her to become famous. Now is not 10 or 20 years ago. Packaging and publicity is the key. Therefore, even if Tang Xiaoqiao knew that she had suffered a loss, she would not raise any objection. Song Sun nodded and then said to several subordinates, "Old Chan, you discuss with Xinghua. The arrangement and soundtrack of this song will be put over at Tianjai Workshop. It will be done according to high specifications, and the quality must be guaranteed. Old Wang, your department will quickly make a publicity plan for me, according to the characteristics of Tang Xiaoqiao and the song. And you are Tang Xiaoqiao's agent, aren't you?" Li Zhigao, who was named, was simply flattered and stammered, "Yes, Manager Song." As a halfway agent, his sense of existence in EMI is too low. It's not easy for Song Sun to know that he is Tang Xiaoqiao's agent. He can't remember his name at all. Song Sun didn't care and said, "Come with Tang Xiaoqiao to my office to talk about something." Several department managers and directors looked at Li Zhigao with strange eyes. They couldn't say they were envious, but it was the kind of, "This guy stepped on dog shit luck." They all knew Li Zhigao and knew that the other party was synonymous with failure among the company's agents. As a result, no one expected that a salted fish was about to turn over. Song Sun must have called the two over to renegotiate the contract, which means that the company wants to support Tang Xiaoqiao. No matter how bad an agent is, if he meets a rising star, it is entirely possible for him to rise with his chickens and dogs. Such examples are too common in the entertainment industry. Song Sun then told Wenzhen, "Old One, you entertained teacher Lu Chan well. You did a good job this time. Excellent work should be rewarded." And Song Sun is never stingy with his public praise to his subordinates, even if his words may embarrass some people. "Thank you, Manager Song." When Ziyuan felt like Zhu Beiji had eaten ginseng fruit, and all the pores on his body were refreshed, he hurriedly said, "Don't worry. Of course he wants to hold up Lu Chan, a great god who can get him promoted and raise his salary. He doesn't need Song Sun to explain at all." After giving orders freely, Song Sun finally said to Lu Chan, "Teacher Lu Chan, I'm really sorry. I still have work arrangements, so I can't accompany you here. You are welcome to come to our company to give guidance at any time. As the vice president of EMI, Song Sun certainly has his own reservations. He very much hopes to have long-term cooperation with Lu Chan, but he will not be in a hurry to immediately offer conditions to Lu Chan. This will not only make others look down on him, but also give Lu Chan the opportunity to ask for a sky-high price. As for the specifics of the cooperation, they could discuss it later. Therefore, his words were beautiful, but that was all there was to it. Lu Chan said with a smile, "Manager Song, please go ahead." Song Sun left with a large team of people, and soon there were only 2 or 3 kittens left in the listening room. At this time, Zhang Qiong came over and said to Lu Chan, "Teacher Lu Chan, I want to talk to you about buying songs." Zhang Qiong's heart was filled with regret. But what she regretted was not that she missed Lu Chen's song, but that she gave Wenxian a chance to turn over, and made her niece resentful. It was a complete mistake. Therefore, Zhang Qiong wanted to make up for her mistakes. She decisively started with Lu Chan. As long as she could invite a good song from Lu Chan, Zhang Shuhui would no longer blame her, and she could also reverse the adverse impact and not become a laughingstock in the company. She even hoped that the song Lu Chan sold to her would be better and stronger than this song so proud. Zhang Qiong's brain turned fast, and the look on her face restored her confidence. However, Lu Chan did not show interest or happy expression as she thought. He turned his head and asked Wenxian doubtfully, "This is..." Previously, Wenxian didn't introduce Zhang Qiong and Lu Chan to Lu Chan. How could he know who they were? However, Wenxian's drastic change in face was seen by Lu Chan. Seeing that Zhang Qiong actually ran over and wanted to intercept, Wenxian was almost fuming with anger. Lu Chen's inquiry made his mood turn around in an instant. The director of the brokerage department replied with a smile, "This is Ms. Zhang Qiong, my agent." Oh. Lu Chan showed that he understood. He said to Zhang Qiong, "Ms. Zhang Qiong, if you want to buy songs, please discuss it with Director 1 first. At present, our studio is in business contact with Director 1. Please forgive us." Lu Chan was not a fool. How could he not see that Zhang Qiong and Wenxian didn't get along? As Wenxian's agent, she ignored her boss and went directly to him. It was very unruly. This woman was obviously very arrogant. Although she spoke politely, she couldn't hide her habit of bossing people around. Lu Chan didn't like her, and he didn't want to deal with her. Therefore, he gave Zhang Qiong a soft nail. By the way, he also gave Wenxian a big face. Zhang Qiong was suddenly stunned. She didn't expect that Lu Chan didn't give her face and didn't want to discuss with her at all. When Zayuan almost laughed out loud. Seeing Zhang Qiong repeatedly being defeated, he felt comfortable all over. He hurriedly said to Lu Chan, "Teacher Lu Chan, come to my office. I have something else to talk to you about." The director of the brokerage department of EMI was simply grateful to Lu Chan. The latter not only pulled him back from the edge of the cliff, but also gave him a valuable opportunity. As long as he firmly grasps Lu Chan, Wenxian's position in the company will be as stable as Mount Tai. So what if Zhang Qiong has someone behind her? Chief Song is watching. Good. Lu Chan promised and left the listening room with Wenxian, talking and laughing, leaving behind Zhang Qiong with a face of shame and disappointment in Zhang Shuhui. Chapter 148. Leaving the Delong building, Lu Chan and Lu Shi took a taxi back to the studio. Lu Shi asked curiously, "What's the matter with that Director 1? Why is he so polite to you?" She and Lu Chan came to EMI together to sign the contract. After signing it, they waited in the reception room and didn't go to the listening room, so they didn't know what happened later. Just now, when Wenxian sent the two out, he was simply very polite. Could even be said to have reached the point of flattery. This made Lu Shi feel very strange. The change in attitude of the head of the brokerage department of EMI was too big. Lu Chan chuckled and briefly explained the grievances between Wenxian and Zhang Qiong. This was what Wenxian himself told Lu Chan. After listening, Lu Shi suddenly realized, it turns out to be like this. Others say that the workplace is dangerous, it's really... She couldn't help shaking her head. Lu Chan has always been unwilling to sign a contract with other big companies, and even declined the personal invitation of the music director of Flying Stone Records. At that time, she more or less didn't understand. Now that she thought about it, Lu Chen's choice was really right. EMI definitely can't be compared with Flying Stone Records, And the internal intrigue is also so fierce. If she and Lu Chun entered Flying Stone Records, she didn't know what kind of situation they would face. Lu Xi has a strong personality and doesn't like to fight with others. Although Lu Chen's own studio is weak, there is no such problem at all. The premise is that he can make so much money. Drop. Drop. All of a sudden, Lu Xi's cell phone in her small bag rang twice. She took it out and looked at it, and immediately showed a happy smile. The money from EMI has arrived. So fast? Lu Chun was also surprised. He and Lu Xi just went out and the money caught up with them. Isn't the efficiency too high? The originally signed contract stipulated that the payment should be completed within 3 days. Lu Xi said with a smile, "It seems that they attach great importance to you. If they don't attach importance to it, it's impossible for the finance of EMI to allocate the money to the account so quickly. The higher-ups must have spoken." Lu Chun smiled. "If they want more songs in the future, we'll have to raise the price again." His insistence on the high-priced boutique strategy from the beginning was undoubtedly the right one. Customers like EMI, as long as they taste the sweetness, and then slowly increase the price later, they can bear it like boiling a frog in warm water. If the price was low at the beginning, it would not be good to raise it too high all of a sudden. It would easily ruin his reputation. Lu Xi was speechless. She realized that she couldn't see through her brother anymore. Beep, beep. His phone rang again. Lu Xi took a closer look and smiled again. She smiled even more happily. Lu Chun was stunned. "What?" Lu Xi waved her phone and said proudly, "The bonus from Beijing Television has arrived, 4 million yuan. Lu Chun won the championship of Singing China. Although he gave up 4 million yuan of so-called New Star Training Fund, the total cash reward was still as high as 4 million yuan, and it was after tax. However, the money was not immediately received at that time, and the satellite TV also needed to go through the procedures. Now that it has arrived, it's just double happiness." Lu Chun was even happier and said without hesitation, "Then transfer 1 million yuan to Mom first and let's go buy a car." He shouted to the taxi driver in front of him, "Sir, please take us to Jingguan Auto City." Lu Xi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Is there a need to be in such a hurry? It's no problem to send money to his mother, but it's too much of a rush to buy a car now. Lu Chun said with a smile, "It's all the same to buy it sooner or later. It's just right to buy it now." Since the establishment of the studio, several staff members have been recruited, and the daily work has gradually become busy. It's really inconvenient to have no car to travel, and it also delays time. Time is money. He has long wanted to buy a car, and was waiting for the bonus from Beijing Television to arrive. Since Lu Chun has made up his mind, Lu Xi has no objection. After all, the studio relies on him to make money, and now that he has made so much money, buying a car is not a big deal. Lu Xi thought for a moment and said, "Then I will call Li Feiyu. He used to work in the 4S store, and he must know the business." Lu Chun nodded. "Okay." When they arrived at Jingguan Auto City, Li Feiyu was already waiting at the gate. The 4S store where he used to work was in Auto City, and he is absolutely familiar with the road. There is no reason for him to be cheated. Seeing Lu Chun and Lu Xi, Peter Pan ran over with a smile and asked eagerly, "De Chun, you are finally going to buy a car. I have been looking forward to this day. Have you thought about what car to buy?" He is Lu Chen's assistant, and the car must be bought by him. Lu Chun said, "We don't need to buy a good car. Not a luxury car, just an economical one. As for the price," he thought for a moment and said, "About 200,000 yuan. Help me have a look." 200,000 yuan? Li Feiyu scratched his head and said, "At this price, then choose a domestic compact SUV, a gasoline-electric hybrid. The state subsidies are very high. Not only is it fuel efficient, but the configuration is equivalent to an imported car of 400,000 yuan." Lu Chun said with a smile, "You are the expert. I will listen to you." He got a driver's license when he was 18 years old and drove his family's car. He liked cars, but he didn't know much about them. His career has just started, so there is no need to buy a good car, but it can't be too bad. A high-quality domestic car should be a good choice. Lu Xi said, "Then you go ahead and choose first. I'll go to the bank and finish the transfer." So they parted ways. Lu Chun followed Li Feiyu to wander around Car City to choose a car, and looked at several shops in a row. Finally, they came to the 4S store of Zhonghua Automobile. A white SUV placed in front of the door immediately attracted Lu Chun's attention. The shape of this car is very good. The appearance is atmospheric and exquisite. The split front face and arc headlights are perfectly integrated, giving people a feeling of power. Li Feiyu recognized it at a glance. Zhonghua X7? This new car has already been on the market. As soon as the two stood in front of the new car, a salesperson from the 4S store immediately came to introduce it to them enthusiastically. This Zhonghua X7 is a new urban SUV that has just been launched by Zhonghua Automobile. It is an environmentally friendly gasoline-electric hybrid. It combines a number of the latest technologies and has quite high technical content. In addition to the efficient and fuel-efficient power system, its configuration is also very good. It has front and rear radars, intelligent cruise, onboard computer, panoramic skylight, leather seats and so on, and the interior space is spacious enough. The biggest feature of gasoline-electric hybrid is fuel saving. The fuel consumption of 100 kilometers is very low. Of course, there is a gap between the power performance and traditional power, but Lu Chun does not race or go off-road. It is enough to run in the city. The most important thing is that the safety configuration of this car is in place. The frame is strong in material, and it is equipped with 6 airbags. If Lu Xi drives it, he can rest assured. In addition, among domestic cars, Zhonghua is a well-known brand, and its quality has always been reliable. As for the price, it is 190,000 to 290,000 according to the configuration. For this new car, Li Feiyu was full of praise, and Lu Chun was also very satisfied. So he asked the salesperson to arrange a test drive and drove Zhonghua X7 around Car City. When he drove back to the 4S store, Lu Xi also came over. Her sister has no requirements for the car, as long as Lu Chun likes it. She and Li Feiyu bargained the price together. Lu Chun finally decided to buy a comfortable configuration. After subsidies, the price of the naked car was 245,000. In the end, the price of the car was not reduced, but the 4S store added about 20,000 worth of interior and service, and small gifts. The price of the whole car plus insurance and purchase tax and other expenses was 263,000. After paying by card on the spot, they applied for insurance and temporary license plates, and directly took out the new car from the 4S store. In the middle of the time, the three also had a late lunch together. The color of the car was white. Lu Xi was very satisfied except that she was a little worried that it would get dirty easily. The three of them went back together and drove this new car. The driver was Li Feiyu. Lu Chun saw that he liked this car very much, so he generously gave up the right to drive. Li Feiyu drove the new car on the overpass in high spirits and said, "De Qian, now that you have a studio and a car, you can consider buying a house in Beijing. How can a big star live in the office?" Lu Chun gave up his original single apartment to his sister, and he has been living in the studio. He was going to find another small apartment near the park. As for buying a house by himself, Lu Chun said with a wry smile, "I really can't afford a house in Beijing now. Let's talk about it in a few years." His first consideration was to pay off all his family's debts. Buying a house was really a long time in the future. Although Lu Chun is making a lot of money now, according to his own estimation, if there is no accident, it will take at least next year to pay off his family's debts. However, compared with the despair that could not be paid off in a lifetime before, now it is already a great happiness. As for buying a house, the house in Beijing is the highest in the country, and the average price is almost breaking through the sky. He has just earned more than 1 million yuan. Even if he doesn't use all of it to buy a house, he can choose a new house in a good location. It is far from enough for the down payment. It is said that the biggest dream of many 3rd or 4th tier star artists is to save enough money to buy a suite in Beijing's 5th Ring Road. The income of 3rd or 4th tier artists is not too bad, but the usual expenses are also high. Buying a house is really a luxury. Li Feiyu sighed. "Yes, the house is too expensive. I have to go home sooner or later." Lu Chun said with a smile, "Are you going back with Xiaomei, sister?" Li Feiyu smiled. Since Chan Xiaomei started working in the studio, Li Feiyu's pursuit seemed to have some results. They talked and laughed all the way, and they were about to arrive at the park. At this time Lu Chen's phone rang. It was Chen Jianhao who called. He asked Lu Chen to go to a tea house in the university town. So Lu Chen asked Li Feiyu to drive to the studio first, and then drove to the place Chen Jianhao said. When they found the place, it was already 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Chapter 149. Lu Chen had never thought that there would be such a private tea house hidden in the shade of trees in the bustling downtown area near the university town. He couldn't find the location even with the GPS of his new car. In the end, he called Chen Jianhao and finally found the right place with the latter's guidance, so he spent a lot of time on the road. This tea house was located in the depths of a secluded alley. It was a large courtyard house with a long history. Behind the courtyard house was the lakeside park, surrounded by towering trees and lush greenery. The old walls were covered with green vines and dotted with wildflowers. It was a quiet and elegant scene. Such a courtyard house was estimated to be worth hundreds of millions of yuan in the capital, but it was actually used to open a tea house. The building inside the tea house had obviously been renovated and was decorated in an antique style. Entering the tea house, the sound of the stringed instrument could wash away people's worries. Under the guidance of the waiter, Lu Chen came to a private room. There were already 4 guests in the private room, and Chen Jianhao was one of them. The other 3 were old men in their 60s or 70s. They were wearing long gowns and cloth shoes and were sitting opposite each other, drinking tea and chatting. Compared with these elegant old men, Chen Jianhao was undoubtedly a junior, so he was very respectful. Seeing Lu Chen come in, he immediately got up and said, "Xiao Lu is here. Let me introduce you to some seniors." The 3 old men turned their heads and looked at Lu Chen. Lu Chen was stunned, because he knew one of the old men, the one he often met when he was exercising in the riverside park. "Brother Kenho." Lu Chen first greeted Chen Jianhao, then said with a smile, "Hello old man, long time no see." The old man was also surprised to see Lu Chen, then snorted and said, "What a coincidence." He seemed to still be holding a grudge against Lu Chen. Chen Jianhao was surprised. "Xiao Lu, do you know Professor Chen? This old man is actually a professor?" Lu Chen nodded. "I know him, but I didn't know the old man's name before." Relieved, Chen Jianhao smiled. "Then I'll give you an official introduction." This old man, who Lu Chen had met many times in the past, was Chen Pu, a retired Peking University Chinese literature professor. Sitting on the left of Professor Zhang was an old man in a green shirt, Gao Yu. He was a professor at the Beijing Conservatory of Music's composition department and was about to retire. And the old man with the big white beard on the right is actually the famous director Zhang Wentian. Lu Chen was very unfamiliar with the 2 professors, Chen Pu and Gao Yu. He had never heard of their names before. But the name of director Zhang Wentian is like thunder in the ears. He once directed 2 big dramas, Romance of the 3 Kingdoms and Water Margin in the 1990s, which created a record of TV ratings at that time. He has also directed many costume blockbusters. He is good at historical and military-themed films and has won many awards. He is a highly respected senior in the industry, but in recent years he has been quiet, and there have been no new works. Many young people may not know much about Zhang Wentian, but Lu Chen is definitely not one of them. He has watched Romance of the 3 Kingdoms and Water Margin more than once at home. So now seeing Zhang Wentian, he really feels like seeing his idol. Of course, whether it is to Zhang Wentian, Chen Pu or Gao Yu, Lu Chen is very respectful and polite. The 2 seniors still have a good impression of Lu Chen's respectful attitude. Chen Pu said to Zhang Wentian, "This kid is the one I took a picture of that day and showed you, the one who blindly practiced boxing." Zhang Wentian suddenly said, "I remember, this young man practices Wing Chun, but the routine is a bit wrong." He smiled at Lu Chen and said, "Few young people nowadays like Chinese martial arts. They all practice boxing and taekwondo introduced from abroad. If you like to learn martial arts, I can introduce you to a master." Boxing and taekwondo are both Olympic events. They are very competitive, so they have a great influence around the world. In particular, taekwondo is very popular for a time. Many parents in China send their children to learn it to strengthen their body and sharpen their will, leading to the blossoming of taekwondo dojo in various cities. In contrast, traditional Chinese martial arts routines are serious, biased towards ornamental and artistic, and not many people learn it. Sanda, which is derived from martial arts, focuses on competition and actual combat, but the moves are too fierce and fierce. Like freestyle and Muay Thai, it is not popular with ordinary people. The boxing technique that Lu Chen practices comes from Imo Rant's memory. The development of inheritance is different from that of this world, and it is not practiced blindly. But Zhang Wentian is completely kind, so he thanked him. Thank you, Director Zhang. Chen Jinhao didn't know that Lu Chen also knows martial arts, and he was a little surprised when he heard it. But he didn't forget the business. He interjected to Gao Yu and said, Uncle Gao, Xiao Lu wants to go to Jingyin to attend a lecture. Please help him. Gao Yu said with a smile, since Jianhao has spoken, it's not good for me as an uncle not to agree. He took out a business card and a pen, and quickly wrote a few lines of small words and signature in the blank space on the back of the business card. After writing, Gao Yu handed the business card to Lu Chen and said, Take it and contact Director Lu in the Academic Affairs office. Director Lu's phone number is on it. He will handle it for you. Lu Chen didn't expect things to be solved so easily. He quickly said, Thank you, Professor Gao. The more he learned about music, the more he felt his own shortcomings. Therefore, Lu Chen has long had the idea of studying in a higher education institution. Of course, he doesn't have the qualifications to apply for the examination. Attending classes has become the best choice, and his actions and time are very free. It's just that it's not so easy to get a pass from key universities like Jingyin and Beiying, so Lu Chen asked Chen Jinhao for help and asked if anyone he knew could get this pass. As a result, Chen Jinhao introduced him to 2 professors and a director. This favor was really not small. Gao Yu smiled gently. You don't have to be so polite. You are very talented in composition and write songs well. As a professor of the composition department of Jingyin, Gao Yu has no prejudice against pop music. When Chen Jinhao mentioned this to him before, he asked about Lu Chen's origin and listened to several of Lu Chen's works, and appreciated the latter's talent. Such a young man was not confused by the vanity of the entertainment industry, and still wanted to learn to enrich himself, which was worth encouraging. Otherwise, Gao Yu may not be willing to help so readily. After all, he has to bear the responsibility for handling a pass for Lu Chen. Zhang Wentian was surprised. Does Xiao Lu make music? Gao Yu replied, Yes, have you heard of In the Spring? This song was written by him. In the Spring? Zhang Wentian was even more surprised. Was this song written by Xiao Lu? Although the older director doesn't pay much attention to the entertainment industry, nor does he like current pop music, he has really heard the song In the Spring more than once. Because his youngest son likes this song very much and often plays and sings it by himself at home with his guitar in his arms. Zhang Wentian didn't expect that this extremely vicissitudes of work was actually created by the young man in front of him. Gao Yu said with a smile, I didn't expect it either, but this work was indeed written by Xiao Lu. Zhang Wentian sighed. It's true that the waves ahead push the waves behind, and the new generation surpasses the old. Although he was surprised, he didn't question Lu Chen's idea at all, because there was no need for that at all. Chen Pu suddenly said, Old Zhang, aren't you having a headache about the theme song of the movie? Let him give you some advice. Zhang Wentian was caught off guard. Gao Yu agreed. Yes, brainstorming. We're all old. We should listen to the voices of young people more. Zhang Wentian couldn't help laughing. It's as if everyone has become an antique. Well, let's listen to it. He said to Lu Chen. Xiao Lu, here's the thing. At first, Lu Chen was a little puzzled, but he soon understood. It turned out that Zhang Wentian was recently preparing to make a big movie, which was about the tragic story of the Opium War in the late Qing dynasty, when the Qing court was corrupt and the foreign powers invaded, and the righteous people rose up to resist, which awakened the national spirit. The screenplay has been written, and it is currently in the stage of preparation for filming. However, Zhang Wentian encountered a problem in the selection of the theme song of the movie. He was not satisfied with the choice of more than a dozen songs, which did not meet his requirements. Most directors add the soundtrack in the later stage after the shooting. Zhang Wentian's habits are different. He attaches great importance to the soundtrack. In the early stage, he must determine the style and tone of the soundtrack, which also includes the theme song. In the opinion of this great director, the theme song of a movie is the best representative of the connotation and idea of the movie. A good theme song can greatly enhance the charm of the movie, which is as important as the script. The problem is that his requirements are very high, and as a result, the theme song has been delayed. Although it is said that finding songs and shooting can be carried out at the same time, Zhang Wentian has always been thinking about it. Today he had tea with his two old friends, Chan Pu and Gao Yu, and asked them to help give some advice. The two professors, one writing lyrics and the other composing music, have cooperated on works before, and maybe they can solve the problem. Chan Pu and Gao Yu are happy to help, but neither of them is very sure that they can write a work that meets Zhang Wentian's mind. What they talked about just now was the theme song. Chen Jinhao happened to be here at the right time. Because of his relationship with Gao Yu, he occupied a place here. As for Lu Chan, who has just come over, he was even more lucky. Under normal circumstances, it is difficult for him to see Zhang Wentian. How can he sit down and communicate with the latter? Zhang Wentian said that, but it was more to pour out the depression in his heart. He didn't expect Lu Chan to provide any useful advice at all. What he didn't expect was that Lu Chan pondered for a moment after listening and said, "Director Zhang, I have a work that may meet your requirements." What? Zhang Wentian wondered if he had heard wrong. Not only him but Chan Pu and Gao Yu also showed a look of surprise. Newborn calves are not afraid of tigers. Chapter 150. He's too impatient. When Chen Jinhao heard Lu Chan say that there was a work that met Zhang Wentian's requirements, he screamed in his heart. Lu Chan obviously lost his composure in front of this great director, and was too eager to show himself. A professor in the composition department of Beijing Conservatory of Music, and a professor in the Chinese department of Peking University, two mentor-level figures working together, were not sure that they could come up with a work that could satisfy Zhang Wentian. Lu Chan actually dared to boast here. Chen Jinhao blushed a little. Chen Jinhao called Lu Chan over today mainly for the sake of the permit. He and Gao Yu are distant relatives, so he calls the other party uncle. Their relationship is not very deep. It's not a big problem to help with the permit. Zhang Wentian's presence was completely coincidental. Lu Chan can get familiar with this great director, which is very good for him to gain a foothold in the entertainment industry, and even to enter the film and television industry in the future. But Chen Jinhao never dreamed that Lu Chan would be so eager for quick success and instant benefits. Of course, he thinks that he can understand Lu Chen's mind. In the pan-entertainment industry, the status and position of an artist are closely related to their profession. Generally speaking, movie actors have the highest prestige. If they can become a movie king or movie queen with enough gold, they will be a well-deserved big shot in the circle and be respected by everyone. Although singers may have more popularity than many actors, they are really worse in terms of prestige. Therefore, after many singers became famous, they desperately drilled into the film and television circle and became the so-called triple perch star. Like those new generation of idols after their debut, they like to shoot TV dramas the most. No matter how melodramatic the plot is, they will also play it with relish. For a supporting role that appears in a few episodes, they can turn the world upside down. It's unknown how much gossip has been created. Therefore, no newcomer can maintain a normal mentality in front of Zhang Wentian. If you can get the favor of this great director, even if you show your face in his blockbuster, it's worth hype. It's just that understanding is one thing. Chen Jinhao still feels disappointed. Gao Yu's favorable impression of Lu Chan also fell from 3 points to 1 point in an instant. Saying that Lu Chan was a newborn calf that was not afraid of tigers was just being polite. Saying that he did not know the immensity of heaven and earth was the correct way to put it. Zhang Wentian was, after all, an experienced man. After the surprise, he quickly looked indifferent, nodded and picked up the teacup. Actually, he did not think much of it. He didn't ask about Lu Chen's work and clearly expressed his attitude. Chen Pu revealed a faint smile and said, "Really? Then why don't you sing it for us old fellows?" He was the only one who was willing to give Lu Chen a chance, even if his tone was full of ridicule. Lu Chan knew very well that his words had aroused the disgust of the seniors. But since he dared to say it, he naturally had the confidence. After some thought, Lu Chan picked up the sterilized chopsticks on the tea table and took out a pair of bamboo chopsticks from the paper sleeve. He pinched the tip of the chopsticks with the thumb and index finger of his right hand, and said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner, "This junior will show my incompetence. As soon as his voice fell, the chopsticks hit the table at the same time. He used the chopsticks as a hammer and the table as a drum, and the sonorous sound of the prelude was beaten, accompanied by the rhythm of singing and roaring. Pride confronts 10,000 waves. Hot blood is like the red sun. Courage is made of iron, bones are like fine steel. Mind is thousands of zhang, vision is 10,000 li long. I will work hard to be strong, be a good man. Oh! Lu Chun had only sung a few words, and the expressions of the two professors and Zhang Wentian changed. Chun Pu was stunned. Gao Yu was surprised. And Director Zhang suddenly opened his eyes wide. He stared at Lu Chun as if he had found some treasure. Zhang Wentian is a very stubborn person, stubborn to the extent of paranoia. He has very strict requirements for his career. Whether it is shooting TV series or movies, he has never been sloppy. If he can do 10% of the work, he will never only spend 90% of his strength to complete it. In 1991, Zhang Wentian started shooting Art of the Three Kingdoms, which was not finished until 1994. The crew of hundreds of people traveled across most of China for 3 years, collecting countless scenes and setting innumerable scenes. The costumes, props, and buildings involved in the film were all strictly in accordance with historical facts, leading to a big overrun in the final budget, which made the investors overwrought and almost declared the project unfinished. But at the end of the shooting, it was broadcasted in the primetime program of Central TV, creating a ratings record of 89.35%. Although at that time the major satellite TV stations had not yet released a shadow, it was still a miracle. Shooting a TV series is like this, not to mention shooting a movie. Zhang Wentian's seriousness and persistence often make the investors want to cry but have no tears. After 2000, several movies he made lost money because of this and gradually became silent. However, a skinny camel is still bigger than a horse. In the film and television circle, Zhang Wentian is still a big shot. This time, after 10 years of dormancy, he is also full of ambition and wants to be popular in both word of mouth and box office. The stubborn side of this great director was once again exposed. When the script has long been completed, and the crew and actors are all in place, he has not started shooting because the theme song has not been chosen, which really makes people speechless. But Zhang Wentian himself doesn't think so. What he wants is a feeling. When the feeling is in place, the shooting will naturally be as smooth as moving clouds and flowing water. Otherwise, it will seem like a lack of soul and can't shoot what he really wants. The theme song is the soul of this movie. Zhang Wentian personally found 4 or 5 songwriters to write the theme song for the movie. In all fairness, the quality of these works is good, but none of them can satisfy Zhang Wentian. In desperation, he found 2 old friends hoping to gain something. As a result, what Zhang Wentian didn't expect was that a newcomer in the circle who happened to meet him actually said that his work was suitable, and even dared to sing it on the spot. At the beginning, director Zhang really took the idea of watching a joke, thinking that Lu Chun was here to amuse and relieve boredom. However, he was shocked. Lu Chun's accompaniment with chopsticks was almost child's play. He lowered his voice and didn't sing loudly, but as soon as he opened his voice, the majestic atmosphere and hot-blooded atmosphere contained in the lyrics and melody hit him in the face, instantly shocking his soul. Different from Chun Pu and Gao Yu, the 2 professors were just simply surprised, and didn't say how excited or anything else. Zhang Wentian was really shocked. What he has been searching for is precisely this feeling, which is exactly the charm contained in this song. Bang! The next moment, Zhang Wentian slammed the table and stood up, his eyes wide open. Stop! His slap was very hard. If it weren't for the exquisite workmanship of the tea table in the private room and the weight was extremely heavy, the tea bowls placed on it would have been knocked over. Lu Chun was startled and immediately stopped roaring. That's right, this song needs to be roared out with breath. Otherwise it can't be sung at all. No, no. Zhang Wentian bowed his head thoughtfully and walked back and forth a few steps, as if trying to find something. Chun Pu and Gao Yu looked at each other, not knowing what was wrong with the great director. Lu Chun's work sounded very interesting at the beginning, but it wasn't enough to make him lose his composure like this, right? Gao Yu asked with a smile. Young man, did you use the tone of general's order in this song? The professor of Jingyin composition department had a little guilty in his heart. Just now he thought that Lu Chun was trying to impress the public and wanted to be in the limelight. Only now did he know that the latter was really talented. Lu Chan quickly replied, "Yes, Professor Gao." Gao Yu asked again, "What's the name of the song?" "A man should strengthen himself." In Lu Chen's dream world, this song can be called a classic movie theme song. Its influence is so great that it overwhelmed all works of the same type. It was created by a character who can be regarded as a master. In his memory, the one who likes this song the most is not Su Bo, nor Mo Ran but Fong Mingyi. A man should strengthen himself. Gao Yu repeated it in praise. "Good name, good song." Chan Pu also nodded. "The lyrics are better." At first glance, the lyrics of this song sound very rough, full of the atmosphere of Jianghu. However, with the accompaniment of the melody of the tune, it has been greatly sublimated, making people's blood boil and full of chivalry. It's all good. At this time, Zhang Wentian finally came back to his senses. He said loudly, "The only bad thing is the accompaniment. This song should be played with a big drum to have the real flavor." The great director stared at Lu Chan with eager eyes. "You sing it again, sing it completely, and accompany it with a drum. Hitting it with chopsticks is simply an insult to this work." Lu Chan was powerless to complain. This is a quiet and elegant tea house. Where can there be a big drum instrument? But he really underestimated this tea house called Yumming Tea Garden. Chan Jinhao called the waiter and said the request to borrow the drum. The latter did not show the slightest surprise or embarrassment, and quickly took the order and left. After instructing the waiter, Chan Jinhao looked at Lu Chan with a very strange look in his eyes. "You hit it deep enough. As the saying goes, if you don't make a sound, you will amaze the world with a single brilliant feat. This is probably the case." Lu Chan noticed Chan Jinhao's gaze and could only smile bitterly. He didn't expect to play so big. Just now, it was entirely because he had heard the movie script described by Zhang Wentian. The song "A Man Should Strengthen Himself" appeared in his memory, and he didn't think too much about it. This song is very suitable for the plot, and director Zhang Wentian's masterpiece will not disgrace the classic. Unexpectedly, Zhang Wentian's reaction was so intense. Of course, at this point Lu Chen is also calm. He doesn't expect to get a role in Zhang Wentian's movie with a song. As long as he establishes a friendly cooperative relationship with this great director, it will already be a great benefit. Tian, that's right. Moreover, composing a movie theme song can greatly enhance the pretentiousness. The pretentiousness in the circle represents the status and value. The higher Lu Chen's pretentiousness is, the more valuable his works will be. Such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, he will never miss it. After about 10 minutes, 2 waiters came to the private room with a drum. Along with them was a beautiful woman in a Han costume. Chapter 151. The woman in Han costume was in her 20s. She was wearing an ivory white embroidered button-down jacket, a milky white satin embroidered lily skirt that dragged the floor, 2 bunches of black and smooth hair hung straight to the waist, and her hair was tied up in a unique double bun. This was a very popular retro dress. A well-made women's Han costume was expensive, and it was not easy to wear a real ancient charm. Appearance, figure, and temperament were indispensable. But for this woman it was not a problem at all. She seemed to be a figure coming out of an ancient painting of a lady. Her skin was as white as snow, her face was as beautiful as jade, her eyebrows were elegant, her eyes were like stars, and her temperament was elegant and cold, which made people have the idea that they could only watch from a distance and not dare to play with her. When she stepped into the elegant room, the whole room seemed to add a touch of brightness. "Huh?" Seeing the woman in Han costume, Gao Yu asked in surprise. "Qing Qing, why are you here?" The woman in Han costume bowed politely and said, "Hello, Professor Gao, Professor Chan, Director Zhang, and Uncle Chan." She greeted the 4 guests in one breath, and her pretty eyes finally fell on Lu Chan. There was a little curiosity and scrutiny. Chan Pu and Zhang Wentian both nodded with a smile. Chan Jinhao exclaimed, "Qing Qing is getting more and more beautiful. If you continue to be beautiful, I'm afraid that no one will be worthy of you in the future." Qing Qing pursed her lips and said with a chuckle, "Uncle Chan only knows how to make people happy. It's not that exaggerated." Her voice was pleasant to the ear, like jade beads rolling on a gold plate. It made people feel very comfortable when they heard it and fell into their hearts. But her smile was like a flash in the pan, and immediately returned to its original elegance. Chen Jinhao said to Lu Chan. Xiao Lu, this is Qin Qing. She studies folk music in Jingyin. You can go to Jingyin to attend classes in the future. If you encounter anything, you can ask her for help. Lu Chen got up and said, Hello, I'm Lu Chan. Lu from the mainland and Chan from the morning. Qin Qing nodded. Hello. Her expression was light, and she had an indescribable temperament. After greeting them, Qin Qing said to Gao Yu, Professor Gao, I heard that you want a big drum here. There is only one drum in our tea garden. I don't know if it meets the requirements. Gao Yu smiled generously and said, Yes, there is a song that needs accompaniment. The Taiji drum is also fine. Taiji drum was a type of Taiji drum. Taiji drum originated in China and was carried forward after it was introduced to Japan. In modern times it returned to China. It was mainly divided into Taiji drum, Heping drum and Xiao drum. Usually it was called Taiji drum, Zhong drum and Xiao drum. What the two attendants brought over was a Dai Tai drum. This type of drum had holes all around it and a red string wrapped around it. There was also a wooden stick perpendicular to the drum's surface. It was most suitable for men to play. Qin Qing's eyes lit up and she asked, Then can I listen in here? Zhang Wentian said with a smile, We can't wait for you to come. After listening to it, Xiao Qin, you can also give us some advice. Qin Qing replied very seriously. Okay. She sat down in the corner of the room, where a zither was placed. Zhang Wentian couldn't wait to say to Lu Chan, Xiao Lu, let's do it again. Lu Chen nodded and picked up the drumsticks. He had never played this kind of Taiji drum before, but he had seen others play it and knew that the method was very particular. Fortunately, he only used drums to accompany it, and didn't need much skill. Immediately, he held the drumsticks in both hands and hit the prelude. Even if it wasn't a Chinese drum, the sound of a real leather drum was not comparable to that of the chopsticks just now. The short prelude made people feel their blood boiling. Singing again, Lu Chen did not deliberately lower his voice. Pride faces the waves of 10,000 waves. Hot blood is like the red sun. Courage is like iron and bones are like fine steel. Mind is thousands of zhang, vision is 10,000 li long. I will work hard to be a good man. Be a good man, be self-reliant every day. A hot-blooded man shines brighter than the sun. Oh! In Lu Chen's dream world, this classic theme song is inseparable from a series of martial arts movies. It can be said to be the pinnacle of the work. The lyrics are full of the hot-blooded spirit of a heroic man. It is adapted from an ancient song, General Ling. Both the melody and the lyrics are very imposing, revealing a kind of majesty of a monarch descending to the world. And the surging passion can shock every listener at once. The melody in the song is soul-stirring. To say that it is imposing, this qi is not only the imposing manner of the song, but more importantly, it shows the national courage of the descendants of China and the awe-inspiring righteousness between heaven and earth. When these qi are combined, it gives birth to the most exciting and majestic soundtrack in Chinese movies at that time. Recalling the plot of the movie in his dream, Lu Chen's momentum suddenly rose, and his emotions were completely integrated into it. He sang with more power. Let the sea and the sky gather energy for me, to open up the sky and the earth for my ideals. Look at the tall and strong blue waves. Then look at the vast blue sky. I am a man, I should be self-reliant. Step forward and stick out your chest. Let everyone be a pillar and a good man. Use my 100 points of heat to shine 1,000 points of light. Be a good man, hot blood and intestines brighter than the sun. Oh! The elegant atmosphere in the tea room was instantly destroyed by Lu Chen's drumming and singing, but everyone present didn't feel that he was cooking cranes and burning the zither to spoil the scenery. Instead, they listened very carefully. Especially Zhang Wentian, he was simply beaming with joy. He wanted to slap the table and applaud several times, but he held back. Qin Qing's slender hands pressed the strings of the zither, and her starry eyes flashed with a strange look. She came because of curiosity. When she first saw Lu Chan, the latter gave her the impression that he was handsome and polite. It's just that there have been too many excellent boys in front of Qin Qing. Lu Chan has nothing special, so naturally there was no special feeling to speak of. He was just an ordinary passerby. Until Lu Chan beat the drum and sang. At the beginning, she could see at a glance that Lu Chan didn't know how to play the daiji drum. He completely used the daiji drum as an ordinary leather drum, and his movements appeared clumsy and jerky. The song "A Man Should Strengthen Himself" changed her impression in an instant. The rhythm of Lu Chen's drumming was extremely powerful, and his singing was full of a heroic spirit that didn't match his age and appearance. The sound was sonorous and deafening, and even a girl like her felt her blood surging. He was so focused, as if everything around him didn't exist, and all his mind was immersed in the song. It was this incomparably serious attitude that inadvertently touched Qin Qing's heartstrings. She had a little more favorable impression of him. Warm blood and intestines brighter than the sun. The drumming stopped abruptly, and the singing stopped abruptly. The lingering sound lingered, but it was not finished. Good. Zhang Wentian was the first to clap his hands and applaud. He looked overjoyed. That's it. Among all the people present, he was the most chivalrous. Otherwise, he would not have chosen such a script as his debut blockbuster. Therefore, he was the easiest to be moved by the song, "A Man Should Strengthen Himself." In fact, when Lu Chen began to sing again, the great director had already decided to use this theme song. Based on this, the tone of the soundtrack of the whole film can be determined. He no longer had any mental barriers and he could let go. Therefore, Zhang Wentian was very grateful to Lu Chen for bringing him a wonderful work. Gao Yu and Chan Pu also applauded. The latter smiled and said, "Old Zhang, you finally got what you wanted. Good song, good music." Gao Yu sighed. "We're really old. This song, 'A Man Should Strengthen Himself,' whether it was the tune or the lyrics, is perfect for Zhang Wentian's upcoming movie. There's basically nothing to be picky about. At most, he needs to work harder on the arrangement and accompaniment, or find someone else to sing again. Lu Chen is still too young. Even if it's his work, it doesn't mean that he can sing the best." Of course, this doesn't affect Gao Yu's appreciation of Lu Chen, which is purely out of professional considerations. Chen Jinhao directly gave Lu Chen a thumbs up. He thought he knew enough about Lu Chen, but now he found that his previous understanding was too superficial. Lu Chen is like an inexhaustible treasure, always bringing people surprises. The style of this song, "A Man Should Strengthen Himself," is completely different from his previous works. It is vigorous and has the atmosphere of a grandmaster, and its strength can only be described as unfathomable. Qin Qing was surprised. Listening to what they said, it seems that this song is Lu Chen's original work? That's too surprising. Lu Chen, holding the drumsticks in his hand, bowed with a smile and said, "Thank you." In the face of appreciation and honor, Lu Chen has never been complacent and proud, because he knows the source of his glory. And it is precisely this modesty that makes the two professors and Zhang Wentian particularly favorable impression. Zhang Wentian said, "Lu Chen, I want this song. Which company did you sign with?" There are rules in the industry. If he wants to buy songs from Lu Chen, he must first negotiate with Lu Chen's signing company. Because according to the artist's contract, the signing company owns full or priority copyright of the works created by Lu Chen. Unless he is a top big shot, it is impossible to be exceptional. Lu Chen's answer was beyond Zhang Wentian's expectation. "Director Zhang, I opened a studio of my own. If you like this song, I can license it to the investors of the film for free." The theme song of a blockbuster with an investment of hundreds of millions of yuan has a great influence. Not to mention free licensing, even if it costs money, Lu Chen is willing to do it. It would be best if Zhang Wentian owes him a favor. If you want to make more money, you must take a long-term view. It is not wise to be greedy for small profits. Zhang Wentian was stunned at first. He didn't expect that Lu Chen actually opened his own studio without relying on other companies. But he reacted quickly and said with a laugh, "I don't want it for free. I still have to pay the fees that should be paid." After a pause, he asked, "The main actors in my movie have all been decided, but there are still a few supporting roles with few scenes. I wonder if you are interested in trying them?" Lu Chen was immediately overjoyed. "Thank you, Director Zhang. I'm very interested. If he misses such an opportunity, he will be struck by lightning." Note: Men Should Strengthen Themselves. Lyrics and music. Huang Zhan. Adapted from the Ancient Song General's Order. Chapter 152. Zhang Wentian, who has been dormant for nearly 10 years, is still a famous director in China and even internationally. Therefore, the comeback of this great director will inevitably attract the attention of all parties. Even if there are several loss-making blockbusters as precedents with his fame and connections, it will be easy to pull in enough investment. The big stars in the film and television industry in the circle, plus the stakeholders of the investors, are bound to want to compete for roles in this new film. Even if it's 3 or 4 supporting roles, they will fight until their heads are broken. It doesn't matter if the film loses money. Zhang Wentian's works have always had a tradition of going to foreign exhibitions and have won many awards. Who doesn't want to walk the red carpet at those highly anticipated film festivals? So, even if the pay is reduced, many people are willing to play it cool. As a newcomer who has just made his debut, an independent artist and a singer, Lu Chun is not qualified to participate in such a game. His influence and connections in the circle are still too small. If it weren't for today's chance to move this great director with an absolute classic, a man should strengthen himself. Even if he used his connections to ask for a small role, he might not be able to get it. And now Zhang Wentian took the initiative to offer Lu Chun a small supporting role, which was simply a pleasant surprise. Lu Chun has experienced 3 lives in the dream world. Among them, Mo Ran is a powerful actor. Unfortunately, his star luck is not good. He has always been a supporting role and has never been a big hit. This life belonging to Mo Ran has made Lu Chun have a different feeling for actors. He once made a vow in his heart to realize Mo Ran's long-cherished wish in his own world and become a real protagonist. But rice has to be eaten one bite at a time, and the road has to be walked step by step. It is easy to pull the egg if you run too fast. Lu Chun doesn't have a pain in the ass. Therefore, he took pop music as the beginning of his career, and waited until he had accumulated enough before developing into film and television. It was precisely because of such a good mentality that Lu Chun didn't think of taking the opportunity to ask Zhang Wentian for a role just now. The script, crew, and actors are all in place. Wouldn't it be embarrassing if he wanted to force it in? It would be too stupid to provoke Zhang Wentian. Lu Chun is already satisfied with being able to set his work as the theme song of a movie. However, things in the world are so wonderful. He has no desire, and Zhang Wentian has to return the favor in turn. Even if it's a small supporting role, Lu Chun was overjoyed and agreed without hesitation. Isn't it silly to play pretentious and reserved at this time? Lu Chun's joy and excitement made Zhang Wentian smile. That's right. The great director nodded and said, "Let's talk about the script and performance contract when we transfer the copyright of the work. Your scenes will be filmed later, so you have enough time to learn some acting skills and perform well." The great director nodded and said, "Let's talk about the script and the performance contract when we transfer the copyright of the work. Your scenes will be filmed later, so you have enough time to learn some acting skills and perform well." When a singer becomes an actor, unless he has a professional background, his acting skills are a big problem. Although Lu Chun has very few scenes, he can't just rely on his face to make up the numbers. "No problem," Lu Chun said cheerfully. "I will work hard to learn." With Mo Ran's life memory, he has the ability to control the protagonist. A small supporting role is naturally easy. However, in front of Zhang Wentian, Lu Chun can't show too much confidence. It's right to be modest. Zhang Wentian nodded and said, "As for the arrangement of this song, and the soundtrack of the movie," Zhang Wentian nodded and said, "As for the arrangement of this song, and the soundtrack of the movie," Lu Chun quickly said, "In terms of arrangement and soundtrack, this junior's ability is not enough." "Are you kidding me? The soundtrack of a blockbuster movie is a big project." He is still very self-aware. This aspect is Lu Chun's biggest weakness, so he has to go to Jingyin to learn and accumulate knowledge. Zhang Wentian said with a smile, "What I mean is that I can't give it to you, but as the creator of the theme song, I hope you can provide advice when necessary. I plan to let Professor Gao complete the arrangement and soundtrack." "Oh, it's wishful thinking." Lu Chun suddenly blushed. He was thinking too much. He had to be calm down. At this time, Lu Chun caught a glimpse of Qin Qing next to him, who was pursing her lips and snickering. There was a bit of girlish cuteness. Lu Chun could only smile bitterly. The film's arrangement and soundtrack are very important, and Zhang Wentian can't let him do it in any case. After all, his qualifications are too shallow and he has no experience. Zhang Wentian gave Lu Chun a small supporting role, which had the intention of compensation. It was Lu Chun who provided the theme song. Gao Yu said with a smile. It just so happens that Lu Chan is coming to Jingyin to attend lectures. It's also very convenient for us to communicate together. He was very considerate to resolve Lu Chen's little embarrassment. Lu Chan said gratefully, Professor Gao, I want to learn a lot from you. Isn't this another opportunity for him? Since Zhang Wentian has handed over this work to Gao Yu, and the latter is a professor of the composition department of Beijing Conservatory of Music, his experience must be very rich. If he can get the other party's careful guidance, learning relevant knowledge will be twice the result with half the effort. Zhang Wentian encouraged, Lu Chen's work has given me confidence. Next year, I will take it to the Capital International Film Festival and compete for the Best Music Award. The Capital International Film Festival, Shanghai International Film Festival and Golden Peony Film Festival are the three major film festivals in China. Among them, the Capital International Film Festival was established in 2000, sponsored by the State Administration of Radio, Film and Television and the Beijing Municipal Government. It is an international, professional, innovative, open, high-end and market-oriented large-scale film-themed event, which enjoys a high reputation in the industry for its authority and professionalism. The Capital International Film Festival aims to integrate domestic and international film resources and build a platform for display, exchange and trading. Since 2010, it has been held annually and set up an award unit, including 10 awards, including Best Film, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Music and Best Visual Effects. The Golden Tripod Award of the Capital International Film Festival is still of high value and has a certain influence internationally. Zhang Wentian pointed his sword at the Golden Tripod Award, showing his strong confidence. He said that the Best Music Award was nothing more than an excuse. Best Film and Best Director were what he really wanted to pursue. At his level, it didn't matter whether he could win the award or not. What mattered was the spirit to rise up again. Zhang Wentian said this, which was also a praise for Lu Chan. Chen Pu said disdainfully, Next year? Can you finish shooting this film in a year and go to the exhibition? Gao Yu laughed. Zhang Wentian was speechless. He could only pick up his teacup and drink water to cover up his embarrassment. Chen Pu poked his Achilles heel, that is, he was too good at procrastinating and grinding. Other directors can finish shooting a film in half a year, but in order to improve it, he often dragged it to a year, which led to a big increase in the budget and killed several investors. Putting down the teacup, Zhang Wentian said heroically, I'll definitely finish shooting it within a year. The Capital International Film Festival was held in early December. Now it was the end of August. Even if it was shot within a year, if the time for post-production was added, it would be very tight to take it to the film festival. He must also complete it, otherwise it would be difficult to explain to the investors. According to the requirements of the investors, after participating in the Capital International Film Festival, it would be released during New Year's Day. Winning an important award would undoubtedly have a great boost to the box office. Now is not the 1980s and 1990s. Investors are very shrewd and always put the box office first. Chen Pu snorted with a look of disbelief. Gao Yu smoothed things over and changed the topic. He asked Qin Qing. Qin Qing, are you going back to the college this afternoon? Qin Qing nodded and asked, Professor Gao, what's the matter? That's just right. Gao Yu pointed to Lu Chan and said, Can you accompany Lu Chan to the Academic Affairs office? Look for Director Lu or Director Chan, and give Lu Chan an auditing certificate. Although he had already written a note to Lu Chan with Qin Qing's help, Lu Chan could get the auditing certificate and the class schedule this afternoon, which could save a lot of trouble. Qin Qing was a little surprised, but she did not object. Okay. Her temperament was reserved, but since Professor Gao asked, she must help. It was not a very difficult thing. Lu Chan said with a smile, Sorry to trouble junior sister Qin. In fact, he could handle it himself. There was no need to trouble Qin Qing, but it was not good to brush off Gao Yu's good intentions. Qin Qing smiled. She got up and said, Then let's go. If we're late, the Academic Affairs office will get off work. Wait! Chen Pu cried. Qin girl, play a song for us first before you go. I haven't heard you play the piano for a long time. As he spoke, he glared at Gao Yu, blaming him for spoiling the fun. Qin Qing sat down again and said in a big way, "Then I'll play a song for the elders." Zhang Wentian, Gao Yu, Chan Pu and Chan Jinhao all smiled. Qin Qing's family background was extraordinary. Not only was she beautiful and outstanding, but she was also intelligent. She had been learning the piano since she was a child, and her zither skills were outstanding. There were many guests who could come to Yumming Tea Garden, but there were really few who could listen to her play the piano. But when Qin Qing waved her 10 fingers and played the zither, the smile on everyone's face turned into a wry smile. Because what Qin Qing played was the ancient song General's Order. Compared with Lu Chen's adaptation, she played the original. In the first part, she used a large section of flicking fingers and left-handed playing techniques to show the scene of the sound of drums and horns. The melody was tense and mysterious. In the second part, the image of a wise and brave general was sketched through the exaggerated singing and sliding technique of her left hand. In the third part, she used the continuous acceleration of the fast 4 points technique to show the situation of the soldiers' rapid advance in formation. In the fourth part, she depicted the scene of the two armies confronting each other, fighting on the battlefield, the sound of horns, and returning to the camp in victory. The 4 parts of the whole song were completed in one go, with an urgent rhythm and full of momentum, showing her exquisite skills. Zhang Wentian and others listened attentively. Lu Chan had a faint feeling that this junior sister seemed to be challenging him in this way. Of course, this may be his illusion. Chapter 153. At the entrance of Yumming Tea Garden, Chan Jinhao patted Lu Chan on the shoulder and said with a sigh, "I really can't see through you more and more." Lu Chan said with a wry smile, "Brother Kenho, in fact I am me. I haven't become another person." Chan Jinhao shook his head with a smile. He knew that Lu Chan was modest and polite on the outside, but in fact, he was very proud in his heart. Even when Lu Chan was a waiter in Forget Worries Bar, his pride has always been hidden in his bones, and has never been obliterated by life. He has always been working hard and struggling silently. It wasn't until Lu Chan showed amazing talent that the pride that had long penetrated into his bones naturally emerged. But this pride was not superficial arrogance and rudeness, but strong self-confidence. It was also this self-confidence that made Lu Chan dare to show his work in front of Zhang Wentian. What Chan Jinhao couldn't see through was Lu Chen's background. It was too deep. In Chan Jinhao's opinion, this song, "A Man Should Strengthen Himself," was better than "In the Spring," "Chasing Dreams with a Childlike Heart," "You Who Sat Next to Me," and other Lu Chen's previous works. He thought about it and reminded seriously, "Xiao Lu, remember to keep the theme song you wrote for director Zhang's new film and the shooting a secret first. Don't take the initiative to publicize it yourself. Director Zhang doesn't like to shout to the whole world before things are settled, and he doesn't like others to use him for hype." A newcomer like Lu Chan, who had just made his debut, had a relationship with Zhang Wentian. As long as he was willing, even if it was a very small thing, he could stir up a basket of gossip news. Lu Chan was not a trivial matter. Fortunately, he was an independent artist. Otherwise, once the signing company found out, it would definitely hype him up. Chen Jinhao knew that the current entertainment industry was inseparable from hype, but he hoped that Lu Chan would not be greedy for the small profits in front of him, and take a long-term view. It was important to have a good relationship with Zhang Wentian. With the support of this great director, it would be much easier for Lu Chan to enter the film industry in the future. Lu Chan smiled and said, "I understand. Brother Kenho, don't worry." He knew that Chan Jinhao was truly looking out for him. Seeing that Lu Chan understood immediately, Chan Jinhao was pleased. "I can't tell you now, but I'll do whatever I want when the film is completed." According to the customs of the film and television industry, when the production of a film was completed or about to be completed, it was the beginning of large-scale publicity. At that time, there would be no problem for Lu Chan to ride on the momentum, and the investors might even be happy to see it happen. He suddenly changed the topic. "What do you think of Qin Qing?" Lu Chan was stunned and didn't know how to answer. "Boss, I don't know her at all." A smile appeared in Chan Jinhao's eyes as he half-jokingly said, "You don't have a girlfriend yet, right? If you don't plan to be a pure idol, then you should find one. Don't miss a good girl." Falling in love in the entertainment industry is a very complicated problem. If you want to take the idol route, then even if you want to fall in love, you must take the underground route. Otherwise, once exposed, it is very likely to lead to a sharp drop in popularity, and even be abandoned by the company. If the strength is better, fans will be more tolerant, especially male singers, whose acceptance will be relatively higher. Lu Chen's appearance is more than enough to be an idol, but he obviously has no intention of buying a face. His identity as the champion of singing China makes it enough for him to mix well in the strength group. Therefore, although Chen Jinhao was joking, what he said was not wrong. Lu Chen smiled bitterly. I don't have any plans to find a girlfriend yet. It's very hard to fall in love seriously. He doesn't have that much time and energy right now. If he doesn't fall in love seriously and holds the idea of playing, well, his sister will beat him to death. Chen Jinhao said with a smile. What I want to say is that Qin Qing is really good. Since you are going to Jingyin to take classes, try to see if you can become friends with her. At your age, don't live like us. Cough. As soon as his voice fell, a soft cough suddenly came from behind the two. Chen Jinhao and Lu Chen couldn't help turning their heads and saw Qin Qing standing a few steps away. She looked indifferent and her eyes were cold. The Jingyin girl had just changed into a simple and elegant dress. She still had long hair, and her temperament was more and more quiet. Even though Chen Jinhao's skin was extremely thick, he couldn't help but feel embarrassed. He laughed and quickly said, Qin Qing is here, then you go. After that, he directly left the soles of his feet and left Lu Chen alone to face this very special girl without any sense of loyalty. Qin Qing was not ashamed or annoyed, but there was a trace of indifference between her eyebrows that kept people 1,000 miles away. She said lightly, let's go. Lu Chen originally wanted to explain a few words, but when he saw the other party's expression, he didn't say much. Okay. Driving the car, Lu Chen drove Qin Qing to Beijing Conservatory of Music. Qin Qing was sitting in the passenger seat. On the way, she suddenly said, Uncle Chen was just joking. Don't take it to heart. Lu Chen said with a smile. I know. Don't worry about it. He was not a fool. How could he not understand the meaning of the other party's words? Qin Qing was telling Lu Chen that there was no possibility between her and him, and not to have unnecessary ideas. The problem was that Lu Chen didn't have any ideas about her at all. This girl who played the zither very well was very beautiful. To be precise, Lu Chen had never seen a more beautiful girl than her, and her temperament was better than her appearance. It was not an exaggeration to say that she was a goddess. Qin Qing's family background should be very good. It could be seen from the attitude of the two professors and Zhang Wentian towards her. She was either rich or noble, and not an ordinary person. Such a girl must have countless suitors, reserved and arrogant. But what does this have to do with him? People from two different worlds may have intersected because of various coincidences, but in the end, they are gradually drifting apart. Qin Qing said, N. Lu Chen was a little speechless. Listening to her tone, it seemed that she didn't believe him. So he said bluntly, I don't plan to fall in love in the next few years. Don't worry. Qin Qing tilted her head and said, Are you angry? Or did you say that on purpose to arouse my interest? Lu Chen sighed and gently turned the steering wheel to park the car steadily on the side of the road. Qin Qing looked at him without the slightest change in her expression. Lu Chen looked straight into her eyes and said sincerely, Junior sister Qin Qing, first of all, I'm not angry. I don't want to attract you with these words. We've just met. You don't know me. I can understand. I'm going to Jingyin to attend lectures just to study. I'm very grateful that you accompany me to get the permit. If this makes you misunderstand, then I'm sorry. I'll send you to school first and I'll handle it myself. After listening, Qin Qing nodded and said, I believe you. Lu Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Thank you. Qin Qing said. Since I promised Professor Gao, I must accompany you to the academic affairs office. Let's go. Lu Chen was speechless and went back on the road. He didn't notice the shallow smile on the corner of the girl's lips. After spending more than 10 minutes on the road, without encountering traffic jams, the two arrived at Jingyin smoothly. Jingyin, or Beijing Conservatory of Music, is known as the three major conservatories, along with the Central Conservatory of Music and the Northern Conservatory of Music. It was founded in 1980 and has a history of 35 years so far. Although it is not as old as Zhongyin, it has also produced many talented people in the past few decades. Many famous composers, pianists and singers have emerged, and it has a respectable reputation both at home and around the world. This conservatory of music is located on the shore of Beihai, adjacent to the famous Beihai Park, and its geographical location is extremely superior. Jingyin is very small in area, and its scale is not even comparable to several middle schools in Beijing. The total number of teachers and students in the school is only more than 2,000, which is incomparable to schools with tens of thousands of students in University City. Lu Chan has never been to Jingyin before, but he has long been famous for this advanced music academy. It is said that there are tens of thousands of students who come to Beijing to apply for Jingyin every year. Most of them start training from an early age. Their attainments in such aspects as piano, violin, folk instruments and so on can crush guys like Lu Chan into slag with just a move of their fingers. However, most of these proud children will be ruthlessly eliminated in the process of applying for Jingyin. Many examinees' families can be described as going bankrupt to train them. After arriving in Beijing, they spend a lot of money to ask teachers in the college to guide them, only to be told that they have no hope of getting in at all. Therefore, those who can be admitted to Jingyin are not ordinary people. Genius is a synonym for ordinary people among them. Even if it's an audit, it's not easy to get an audit pass. The environment in Jingyin is very good. The campus is shaded by trees, several buildings are hidden in the woods, and there is a small lake with rippling blue waves in the middle. The breeze is blowing gently, and the water is not rippling. Because school hasn't started yet, few students can be seen in Jingyin. Lu Chan didn't have a pass for Jingyin, but Qin Qing came forward and said a few words to the guard and was let in. Under her guidance, he drove directly to the bottom of the office building. After getting out of the car, Qin Qing took Lu Chan to the Academic Affairs office on the 3rd floor. There was someone in the office of the Academic Affairs office. Director Lu, whom Lu Chan was looking for, was not there. Fortunately, there was still Deputy Director Chan on duty. After explaining the purpose of his visit, he readily gave Lu Chan an audit pass. The audit pass is valid for 1 year, and will be invalid after expiration. With the pass in hand, Lu Chan can freely enter and exit Jingyin, and listen to any professor and mentor's lectures. He can also eat in the cafeteria of Jingyin. Deputy Director Chan sent a schedule to Lu Chan, which made Lu Chan very grateful. After completing the audit pass, the two went downstairs. Lu Chan said to Qin Qing, "Thank you very much this time. I'll go first." Qin Qing nodded. "Goodbye." As the car came out and drove towards the door, Lu Chan subconsciously glanced at the rearview mirror. The girl's figure was already gone. Chapter 154. Time flies little by little and unknowingly, it is fleeting like a white steed passing through a crack. In the blink of an eye, the golden August has passed and Beijing, a super city with a population of 30 million, has entered the fragrant September of osmanthus. The heat is no longer there, and autumn is gradually rising, and is about to usher in the best time of the year. Blue Sky Creative Park Area, Nirvana Studios. In the recording studio, studio manager Wang Changsheng, music director Wang Jing, recording engineer Wang Hui, and 3 other members of Nirvana Studios gathered together, staring at Lu Chan with nervous or expectant eyes. Wang Changsheng's forehead oozed fine sweat, his eyes were a little blank, and his right hand could not help but tremble. Wang Jing's eyes were still bright and full of spirit, but the action of biting her lips exposed her inner emotions. Wang Hui was the most unbearable. His whole body was trembling. He pressed his clenched fist on his mouth several times, as if to bite hard, otherwise he would be unable to hold back and shout out loud. However, Lu Chan could not see it at all. He was wearing huge monitoring headphones listening to his own voice. "Whenever I can't find the meaning of existence, whenever I am lost in the night. Oh, the brightest star in the night sky, please illuminate my way." The song gradually stopped, but the lingering sound still lingered in the ears, like the burning blood in the heart is still boiling. After a long time, Lu Chan took a long breath and opened his eyes. Under everyone's nervous and expectant gaze, he took off the headphones, nodded and said, "It's okay." "Yes." 3 simple words instantly set off a frenzy of joy in the studio. Wang Hui was the first to shout, and then the 3 members of the Nirvana band all clapped their hands hard. Wang Changsheng showed a happy smile with relief, and even Wang Jing, who has always been calm, smiled like a spring flower. They have reason to be happy, reason to cheer, and more reason to celebrate. Lu Chen's debut album produced in Nirvana Studio was also the biggest and most important order the studio has ever received since its establishment. After 2 months, it has finally been declared complete. Nirvana Studio, though there are certain problems in the arrangement, accompaniment, recording, and post-production, and they have not achieved the best level, everyone has done their best. The whole album's 10 songs can't be said to be flawless, but they are qualified to be called sincere works. Lu Chen is already very satisfied. 100,000 yuan can make such an effect, which is completely beyond his expectations. Perhaps the arrangement is slightly immature, and perhaps the accompaniment is not mature enough, but for this album, You Who Sat Next to Me, it is really enough. This immaturity does not affect the main style of the work at all, and can even better express a certain temperament of campus folk songs. He said sincerely, "Thank you." Lu Chen first reached out to Wang Changsheng. For this album, the studio manager has been busy running around, so that the production team has no worries, no credit, but hard work. Then Wang Hui. His work is the hardest. Recording and post-production are basically done by himself, often working overtime late into the night. And Wang Jing. All the arrangements of the works are completed by her. The Jingying graduate has a good grasp of the style of the album, and when she encounters problems, she often tirelessly modifies and adjusts, and several times, she has been very serious. Finally, the 3 band members are also working hard. Even if they are mainly doing it for himself in the studio, Lu Chen is still grateful. Because Lu Chen himself participated in the production of the album, he is very aware of everyone's efforts. So he wants to shake hands with everyone in Nirvana Studios one by one to express his gratitude. The next thing is simple. According to the contract, Lu Shi, who came with Lu Chen, paid the balance of the production fee to Nirvana Studios, and also got the master disc of the album and the lossless high-quality audio file. The album You Who Sat Next to Me has a total of 10 songs. In addition to the title song, You Who Sat Next to Me, there are also The Wind, The Brother Who Slept on My Upper Bunk, Cinderella, The Bright Times of Youth, Beauty, Those Flowers, Ballad of Time, and Open Air Cinema, forming a unified campus folk style. For the last song, Lu Chen originally intended to use Once You as the finale and Easter egg, but considering the influence of Singing China and the overall style, he finally chose The Brightest Star in the Night Sky. As for Once You and Chasing Dream with a Childlike Heart, they will be put on the next album. Counting carefully, such a lineup can be called luxurious, and the 10 songs are all fine works. Whether it is the melody or the lyrics, they have enough highlights, and there are real classics as the core. For the first album of his life, Lu Chen will never be careless. It was the name of the album that made him hesitate for a long time. From a publicity point of view, The Brightest Star in the Night Sky is undoubtedly the most appropriate, but it does not fit the theme of campus folk songs. After careful consideration, Lu Chen still chose You Who Sat Next to Me. Lu Chen Studio has already negotiated with QQ Music. Lu Chen's debut album will be put on QQ Music for debut and exclusive sale. Waiting for this set of audio files. QQ Music is the largest music website in China, with a market share of more than 50%. Originally, it was very difficult for a newcomer like Lu Chen, who is also an independent artist, to promote and release on their website. However, because the live version of several works sung by Lu Chen in Singing China has been a great success on QQ Music, with countless downloads and a good reputation, the website attaches great importance to the cooperation between the two sides. Although there are all kinds of rules in QQ Music, and there are under-the-table manipulations on the homepage list, they can't ignore a singing star with huge market potential, so they are willing to exchange part of the benefits. This relatively equal status is not easy to come by, and it is also due to Lu Chen's strength. Otherwise, Lu Chen can go to QQ Music's competitors, EasyNet Music, pop radio stations, etc. With the quality and popularity of his works, the sales performance will not be too bad. QQ Music doesn't want to let its opponent take advantage of it, even if the latter's market share is not as good as its own. According to Lu Chen's plan, after QQ Music goes on sale, The cooperation with Flying Stone Records will be launched at the same time. QQ plus Flying Stone basically constitutes a perfect album sales channel, or double flight for short. But there is still a very important problem that has not been solved, so it is definitely necessary to go through the QQ channel first. Little Chun. The call in his ear suddenly woke Lu Chun up. Lu Shi asked curiously, "What's the matter?" Lu Chun was just lost in thought about the distribution of channels. Now that he came back to his senses, he quickly replied, "Nothing." He then said to Wang Changsheng, "Manager Wang, I have booked a place at Jinghua Hotel. I'll treat everyone to dinner in the evening. Now it's almost time. Let's go together." The serious and responsible attitude of Nirvana Studios made Lu Chun have a very good impression of them. In the future, they will definitely continue to cooperate, so he is very willing to further enhance the relationship between the two sides. Lu Shi mentioned that if the time is right, she will directly acquire Nirvana Studios to strengthen herself. However, Lu Chun is not willing to support his sister's idea for the time being, because he can see that Wang Changsheng's family has deep feelings for this studio and has spent a lot of effort in it. Therefore, unless the other party takes the initiative to propose it, he will not acquire Nirvana Studios. When Lu Chun's studio really needs to grow, it is not a problem to ask someone to build a shed on their own. He doesn't want to be a shrewd businessman, calculating gains and losses for everything. "Great, thank you, brother Lu Chun." Wang Hui immediately expressed his strong support and said with a smile, "I eat fast food boxes every day. I'm about to vomit. I want to eat a big meal. I want to eat roast duck, braised ribs, sweet and sour fish. Ouch." Wang Jing slapped him on the back of the head and glared at him. "Can you be any more shameful?" Wang Hui looked wronged. Lu Chun smiled. Wang Hui is a very simple technical geek. He has no complicated thoughts. He is used to talking to others. In contrast, his sister Wang Jing pays more attention to details. Wang Changsheng said quickly, "Mr. Lu, let me treat you to dinner tonight." Nirvana Studios has earned Lu Chun's money, and it is really embarrassing for Lu Chun to treat them to dinner. Lu Chun said with a smile, "Manager Wang, you don't have to be so polite. Everyone is really working hard. I have to treat you." At Lu Chun's insistence, the dinner was still his treat. Everyone left the studio together. Jinghua Hotel is next to the Blue Sky Creative Park, which is only a 10-minute walk away. Lu Chun booked a big box in the restaurant on the second floor of the hotel. After sitting down, Lu Chun handed the menu to Wang Hui and said with a smile, "You order whatever you like. Don't be polite with me. The success of this album is due to you." Wang Hui happily took it and said, "Brother Lu Chun, I'm polite to others, but I'm really not polite to you. You are now a local tyrant. You can earn more than 1 million yuan by participating in the talent competition. My sister admires you very much." Wang Jing, who was sitting next to him, blushed and said, "What are you talking about?" Wang Hui stuck out his tongue and quickly ordered. After ordering, the dishes and wine were quickly served on the table. Lu Chun poured himself a full glass of beer, raised his glass and said with a smile, "I will toast everyone first. Thank you for your efforts in helping me complete an excellent album. Thank you." He drank it in one gulp. Wang Hui and others immediately applauded. Except for Wang Changsheng, the others were young people of about the same age. Everyone liked music and had a lot of common topics, so the atmosphere of the banquet quickly became lively. Halfway through, Lu Chun's cell phone rang. Lu Chun took it out and looked at it. The caller ID on the screen made his eyes light up. Chapter 155. It was Li Mubai who called Lu Chun. Li Mubai's tone was a little excited. "Brother Chun, my big brother wants to see you." Li Mubai's big brother? Lu Chun was stupefied, but he quickly realized that Li Mubai's big brother should be able to help him. A few days ago, because of a very important matter, Lu Chun asked Li Mubai to help him inquire about it, to see if the latter could help him contact the relevant people, lest he couldn't find the temple door even if he carried a pig's head. China is a society of human relationships. If you want to establish a career, networking is really important. Li Mubai's family background is extraordinary. Coupled with his forthright personality, he must know a lot of friends in Beijing. It's better to ask him for help than to sit in the studio and wait anxiously. No matter whether it works or not, it's always right to try. What Lu Chan didn't expect was that Li Mubai actually asked his big brother. Lu Chan knew nothing about who Li Mubai's big brother was, but listening to his tone, it was obvious that things were taking shape. It was also wonderful that Lu Chan and Li Mubai have never met in real life, but the relationship between the two has changed from the original Anchor Plus fan to a bit of real friends. If it weren't for this relationship, Lu Chan wouldn't have asked Li Mubai for help. As Chen Jinhao's view of Lu Chan, his pride is deep in his bones. Lu Chan quickly asked, "When and where will we meet?" "I'll come over myself." Li Mubai asked, "Where are you now?" Lu Chan replied, "I'm at the Jinghua Hotel next to the Creative Park. I invited the people of Nirvana Studios to dinner in the evening. My album has been produced, and it is expected to be available for sale on QQ Music in 2 days." "The album is finished?" Li Mubai was pleasantly surprised. "That's great. When the time comes, I'll mobilize everyone to support you. No matter what, I'll help you get on the sales list. It's just that online downloads are boring. Only when you release a real album will it be cool." The word pretentious was taught to him by Lu Chan. He had learned it from the dream world, and its opposite was cheap. Li Mubai put what he learned into practice and often talked about it. He would comment on the bullet screen from time to time in the live broadcast room. According to him, Li Bai was a high-class man. As for his archenemy Earthies, he was definitely a despicable person. Lu Chan said with a smile, "I asked you to help me with the album. The specific situation is a bit complicated. Let's talk in person." He wanted to take this opportunity to meet his #1 hardcore supporter. "All right," Li Mubai said. "At 7:30 in the evening, come to the Pinyin community on the 2nd Ring Road of Beijing. Call me when you arrive." Of course, Lu Chan had no objections. He was very happy. This thing that had been planned for a long time finally had hope of success. Back in the private room, Lu Chan apologized to Wang Changsheng and others, and asked Lu Shi to continue to accompany everyone for dinner. He returned to the studio first. There were bathroom facilities in the lounge of Lu Chan's studio. He took a quick shower to wash away the smell of alcohol, then changed into a set of clean and tidy clothes and went out. Because he had drunk in the evening, Lu Chan didn't drive himself. He stopped a taxi on the side of the road and rushed to the Pinyin community. The taxi driver was a local, but anyone who often took taxis in the capital knew that the biggest characteristic of the local taxi drivers was that they were good at talking. They were knowledgeable about astronomy and geography, and they could talk about anything from the height of the temple to the distance of the pugilistic world. The middle-aged driver was the same. When he heard Lu Chan say that he was going to the Pinyin community on the 2nd Ring Road of Beijing, he immediately opened his mouth and his saliva flew everywhere. The Pinyin community was one of the earliest high-end communities in Beijing. The geographical location was extremely superior. 70% of the buildings in it were villas, and the people who lived in it were either rich or respectable. When the Pinyin community opened for sale more than a decade ago, it set a new national record for housing prices at that time. Now it had increased at least 10 times, and a large villa was worth at least hundreds of millions. Speaking of the housing prices in Beijing, the old driver sighed. He said that he was reluctant to buy a house at 5,000 yuan per square meter because it was too expensive. As a result, he couldn't buy a house in the same location for 50,000 yuan. He regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. Lu Chan listened to him talk all the way, and time passed quickly. Fortunately, the taxi did not encounter any traffic on the road, and Lu Chan arrived at the Pinyin community at 7 o'clock. After paying the fare, he got out of the car and called Li Mubai. As a high-end community, the security of the Pinyin community was very strict. Without a pass, Lu Chan couldn't get in. Li Mubai came out soon. This was the first time Lu Chan saw him in person. Li Mubai was 1 year younger than Lu Chan, and his height of about 1.75 meters was standard. He had short hair, and his appearance was not very handsome, but at least his facial features were regular, and his whole body was full of youthful vitality. The hip-hop style was very eye-catching. "Brother Chan." Seeing Lu Chan, Li Mubai ran over with a smile and opened his arms to give Lu Chan a solid hug. Lu Chan patted his back hard and said with a smile, "Li Mubai." Although it was the first time they met in person, the two had chatted many times on the internet, and they were quite familiar with each other. Therefore, it felt like a reunion of old friends who hadn't seen each other for many years. They were happy and excited from the bottom of their hearts. There was no strangeness or alienation. Li Mubai let go and said, "Let's go to my house. My big brother and third sister-in-law are already there." Lu Chan asked curiously, "You need to trouble your big brother with this matter?" The two chatted as they walked and Li Mubai explained, "This matter is just a small matter for my big brother. But big brother has never cared about me, so I asked third sister-in-law for help. Third sister-in-law likes your songs very much, and she said that you are very talented, and my big brother loves third sister-in-law the most. This is called saving the country with a curve." His face showed a triumphant look with an expression of, "I'm very smart, please praise me." Wait. Lu Chan felt that something was wrong. Li Mubai's big brother didn't care about him. He asked third sister-in-law for help, and big brother loved third sister-in-law. The rich circle seemed to be a bit messy. Probably noticing Lu Chen's strange look, Li Mubai said with a smile, "Don't think the wrong way. I only have one big brother, but I have 3 sisters-in-law." He became a Taiwanese citizen in his early years, and third sister-in-law is from Taipei, Taiwan. Treasure Island people. Lu Chen suddenly realized. As early as 1967, Taiwan returned to the embrace of the motherland with Hong Kong. Together with Macau, which returned in 1969, it was one of the 3 special administrative regions implementing the policy of one country, 2 systems. The political system was different, and the laws of the special zones were also very different from those of China. The most typical one was the marriage law. The marriage laws of the 3 special zones all allowed polygamy. For example, He Liangwei, the famous gambling king of Macau, owned a 7-star Macau hotel and 3 luxury casinos. His business scope involved gambling, real estate, logistics, entertainment and other industries, with assets of more than 50 billion. The most interesting thing about He Liangwei was not how much money he had, but that he had a total of 7 wives. In addition to the original wife, the other 6 included 4 misses from Macau and 2 misses from Hong Kong. He could be called a real winner in life. It was precisely because of the different marriage laws that many rich people in China tried to move to the 3 special zones. What they wanted was to marry more wives, enjoy the happiness of having multiple wives, and at the same time expand the family and import more children. But after entering the new century, the feminist movement was on the rise, and the voice for the 3 special zones to abolish this unfair marriage system was getting stronger and stronger. Therefore, Taiwan and Hong Kong were planning to amend the marriage law and abolish polygamy. It was said that there was a lot of resistance. As they spoke, the two came to the front of a large villa in the community. The area of the Ping'an community was very large, and there was an artificial lake in the center of the community. Villas were built around the lake, and they were scattered around each other, separated by green belts to ensure privacy. The villa of Li Mubai's family was 3 stories high, at least 600 or 700 square meters in size, and there was a small garden in front of the door. It was already dark, and the street lamp standing on the green field emitted a soft light, evenly illuminating the cobblestone path leading to the gate, and the surroundings were full of a quiet and serene scene. Li Mubai stepped forward and opened the door, and the magnificent hall inside immediately appeared in front of him. He saw a giant crystal lamp hanging from the dome was emitting thousands of rays of light, and it was as brilliant as a palace. Li Mubai made an invitation gesture to Lu Chan and said, "Brother Chan, welcome to my house." Lu Chan smiled slightly and said, "Thank you." Although Li Mubai's home was amazing, it was not enough to make Lu Chan lose his composure. When his family was not in decline, the place where his family lived was also a villa in the best community in Binhai. Although it was not as good as the house in front of him that was worth hundreds of millions of yuan, it was still considered to have enjoyed wealth. Lu Chan naturally stepped into the door. The living room was empty and no one was there. Li Mubai said, "Big brother is listening to the third sister-in-law playing the guqin in the tea room on the 2nd floor. I will take you up." Under his guidance, Lu Chan came to an elegant room on the 2nd floor of the villa. It was said to be a tea room, but in fact it was more like a large study room. The decoration was completely Chinese antique. There were many calligraphy and paintings of famous people hanging on the wall, and there was a faint smell of tea in the air. He saw a man in a white gown sitting on a mahogany chair, listening to a woman in Cheongsam playing the guqin. Seeing Li Mubai and Lu Chan coming in, the man in the white gown raised his right index finger and made a gesture of silence. The graceful woman was very focused on playing the guqin. The sound of the guqin entered the ears like the sound of nature. It was a melodious and smooth song of Xiaoxiang water and clouds. If people listened carefully, they would unconsciously enter the artistic conception of clouds and water reflecting the vast mist. Li Mubai and Lu Chan stood still until the woman finished playing the ancient song. And Lu Chan was surprised to find that he actually recognized the guqin player, who was Li Mubai's third sister-in-law. Chapter 156. This musician is very beautiful. She is wearing a white cheongsam with blue patterns, which outlines her graceful figure. Her skin is ice and snow, and her eyebrows are picturesque. Her whole person seems to be like a blue and white porcelain that has been washed in the kiln fire, shining with a soft light that can't be ignored, elegant, gentle, and unstained by dust. Lu Chan recognized such an outstanding person at a glance. Su Daiwan. Su Daiwan is a native of Taipei, Taiwan. She was once very popular on the island. She made her debut at the age of 19 and won the championship of the Island Performing Arts Award. With her natural voice and outstanding appearance and temperament, she became a rising star. At the age of 21, Su Daiwan released her debut album Light Snow First Sunshine, and at the same time pushed her singing career to the peak, and was regarded as the future heavenly queen of the music industry. However, to everyone's surprise, only 2 years after her debut, when her career was brilliant, Su Daiwan suddenly retired from the pop music world and disappeared from the public's sight. Except for a few insiders, no one knew why Su Daiwan gave up her career. There were many rumors at that time. Some said that Su Daiwan was kept by a rich man, some said that she had an incurable disease, and some said that she had become a monk. But no matter how many rumors there were in the outside world, Su Daiwan did not respond. 5 or 6 years have passed. Perhaps only a few die-hard fans still remember her. In the Waves blog there is also Su Daiwan's fan group V, with tens of thousands of followers. Lu Chan never dreamed that Su Daiwan was Li Mubai's third sister-in-law. The reason why Lu Chan knows Su Daiwan so well is that his first girlfriend is a loyal fan of Su Daiwan. There are promotional posters of Su Daiwan hanging in her boudoir, and the drawer is filled with various record versions of the album Light Snow First Sunshine. Lu Chan still remembers the scene when his first girlfriend leaned against his arms and sang the song Love Snow in his ear. The sour and astringent taste could not help but emerge in his heart, and for a time, he was infatuated. Love Snow is the title song of Light Snow First Sunshine, the most moving love song in the whole album. The sound of the zither lingers and the song ends. The old friend is still there, and the past cannot be traced back. Mubai, is this your friend? A gentle voice brought Lu Chan back to his senses. Lu Chan couldn't help but turn his head. His eyes just happened to meet Li Mubai's elder brother's eyes. Li Mubai's elder brother should be in his 30s. He had sword-like eyebrows, bright eyes, and deep facial features. With a smile on his face, he had an indescribable refined temperament. He was wearing an antique white gown, which looked extremely harmonious on him, like a character in a book. His gaze was calm with a hint of curiosity, making people unconsciously have a good impression of him. A gentleman is like jade. Lu Chan immediately thought of the most suitable adjective for the other party. Such a character was really compatible with Su Daiwan. But Lu Chan couldn't help but look at Li Mubai again. He really wanted to ask him, "Is this really your biological brother?" Li Mubai held Lu Chen's shoulder and said, "Yes, he is Lu Chan, my best friend." Best friend? Lu Chan couldn't help but be stunned, but he still remained calm on the surface. He bowed slightly and said, "Hello, big brother Li. I came to visit at night. Please forgive me for being presumptuous." Li Mubai's elder brother smiled and said, "You are Mubai's friend, so you are a guest at home. You don't have to be too polite. I am Mubai's elder brother, Li Murong. You can come and sit together." Li Mubai pulled Lu Chan, and the two of them sat down at the tea table. At this time Su Daiwan came over, picked up the teapot, and made tea for Li Mubai first. Her movements were like floating clouds and flowing water, elegant and skillful, which was pleasing to the eye. Li Mubai picked up the teacup and smelled it, revealing an exaggerated expression. "Third sister-in-law, the tea you make is fragrant, and the dishes you cook are even more delicious. I want to live in your house every day, but unfortunately, Big Brother doesn't want to. Su Daiwan pursed her lips and said with a smile, "It sounds nice. If you really want to come and live, can your big brother not let you live?" Li Mubai grinned and said, I'll be driven out by him if I stay for half a day." He asked Li Murong again, "Big brother, don't you think so?" Li Murong shook his head speechlessly. He was obviously helpless against his rascally younger brother. Su Daiwan brewed another cup for Lu Chun. Lu Chun quickly said, "Thank you, Su. Miss Su." Su Daiwan said with a smile, "You're welcome. Just call me third sister-in-law like Mubai." Her gentle and kind smile made Lu Chen's taut heartstrings relax. He said, "Third sister-in-law, my former girlfriend liked you the most. She was sad for a long time after you retired." Seeing Su Daiwan, Lu Chun remembered the past and couldn't help but say it. Su Daiwan put down the teapot, sat down beside Li Murong and said with a smile, "If you see her again, apologize for me." Lu Chun smiled bitterly. Su Daiwan turned to look at her husband and said, "In fact, you should blame him. It's all his fault." Although it was in a reproachful tone, the gentleness in her eyes seemed to overflow. It was Li Murong's turn to smile bitterly and raise his hand in surrender. Li Mubai took the opportunity to say, "Big brother, can you help him ask about Brother Chun?" Li Murong declined to comment. He asked Lu Chun, "Can you talk about your project first?" The smile on his face was still gentle, but there was a trace of sharpness in his eyes, which was the shrewdness of understanding the world. If a person with ulterior motives was stared at by such a gaze, he would inevitably feel guilty. But Lu Chun was very calm. Okay. He had come prepared. He had brought a copy of the project proposal that he had made with him. Lu Chun took out the copy and handed it to Li Murong. Li Murong was a little surprised. He didn't expect Lu Chun to be so well prepared. He took the printed paper and read it carefully. The project that Lu Chun wants to do has been brewing for a long time. Simply put, it is a fundraising platform, crowdfunding website. His inspiration comes from the dream world. The dream world also has a huge internet industry, which is not much different from the development of this world. Many things can be corresponded, such as QQ to QQ, WeChat to Feixin, Alipay to Yifubao, and so on. In China, 7 internet giants firmly control most of the network resources and wealth. Lu Chen's major in university was computer application. He was well aware of the difficulty of starting a business on the internet today. It was far from comparable to the previous period of rapid development. If there was no strong capital and excellent creativity, and rashly rushed into this extremely competitive Red Sea 99% of the result would be death without a burial place. Therefore, after acquiring the memory of the dream world, he focused on making money through original works and singing, and didn't think about tossing around in the IT industry. However, when Lu Chun decided to produce and release his first album, his inspiration was touched. As an independent artist, the biggest difficulty Lu Chun faces is that he doesn't have the support of an entertainment agency. It may be easy to produce and release albums, but it is undoubtedly difficult to not lose money or even make a profit. Lu Chun didn't want to lose money, so he thought of the advantage he had. More than 1 million fans. So how can he make the most of this advantage to help the sales of his album? The crowdfunding platform is undoubtedly the best solution. The so-called crowdfunding refers to the mode of raising project funds from netizens in the form of group purchase plus advance purchase. It uses the characteristics of the internet and SNS to let small businesses, artists, or individuals show their creativity to the public, win people's attention and support, and then get the financial assistance they need. Compared with traditional financing methods, crowdfunding is more open, and the commercial value of the project is no longer the only criterion for obtaining funds. As long as it is a project that netizens like, they can get the first sum of money to start the project through crowdfunding, which provides infinite possibilities for more people with small businesses or creations. For example, independent artists like Lu Chun. In this world, the original prototype of crowdfunding has long existed, but there is no real internet crowdfunding platform. It's like a small gold mine waiting to be excavated. When his inspiration was touched, Lu Chun keenly felt that this was an excellent opportunity to give his career a greater opportunity to develop, and he immediately set about preparing for it. The Chinese and English domain names of crowdfunding, Zhongqiu, and crowdfunding have all been successfully registered by Lu Qian, and he purchased a high-bandwidth independent server from a well-known internet service provider and worked with Chan Xiang to build the website. The structure of the crowdfunding platform is actually very simple. After registration and filing, apply the ready-made website template, add the corresponding functions, and then connect to Yifubeo and online banking. A complete crowdfunding network is declared complete. With the memory in his dream as a reference, Lu Chun didn't spend too much time and energy in this regard. As long as he is willing, the crowdfunding network can be launched at any time. But there is still a big problem. From a technical point of view alone, there is no difficulty in the crowdfunding platform. It is just like an ordinary personal website, and anyone who has learned how to make a website can easily handle it. The key lies in creativity. How can Lu Chun ensure that his creativity will not be copied, imitated, or even invaded by others? This has to mention an internationally and domestically popular bill, that is, the Commercial Creative Copyright Protection Act. The Commercial Creative Copyright Protection Act was first born in 2005. It was a period of rapid development of the domestic internet, and it was also a period of barbaric and violent expansion of giants. Many potential emerging small companies, under the attack of these giants, either closed down or were swallowed up, which can be described as chaos. The most typical example is an interactive game called Thumb Elf, whose company, Shining Elf, quickly became popular and made a lot of money because of this game. However, Shining Elf Company's good times did not last long. QQ Games stared at this fat meat and quickly launched Finger Elf, with the same model. With more sophisticated production and a large user base, it quickly defeated Thumb Elf. Shining Elf Company, a game company that was originally very promising, has since been unable to recover and finally ended in dismay. And similar examples were countless in that period. Chapter 157. From the day of the birth of capital, every pore is full of filth and blood. These two famous sayings perfectly explain the nature of business. The early expansion of the domestic internet industry was a bloody process of killing and annexation. It followed the law of the jungle, where the strong preyed on the weak. The few giants had all fought their way out of the Red Sea, and their bones were filled with the nature of wolves that devoured everything. They call it the rules of business. But the domestic political system determines that this unlimited and barbaric expansion must be curbed, because the result of the monopoly of giants is to a great extent stifle the spirit of innovation, making it difficult for small and medium-sized enterprises to gain a foothold. And the giants that grow up by swallowing the weak at home appear very weak in the face of foreign crocodile peers. This situation eventually aroused the vigilance and reflection of the upper echelons of society. After a difficult game in September 2005, the Commercial Creative Copyright Protection Act was officially released as a supplementary regulation to the patent and copyright regulations. This regulation is aimed at the new internet-based industry, protecting the original business creative model of enterprises from plagiarism, imitation, and encroachment by others, thus promoting industrial upgrading and expansion, forming a good market competition atmosphere, and avoiding falling into a vicious cycle. The regulations stipulate that commercial creative copyright only accepts applications from enterprises, and after passing the review, a creative copyright protection certificate will be issued, with a validity period of 12 months. That is to say, give you a year of development time. After a year, you will face the cruel competition in the market. If you can't develop and establish an advantageous position during the protection period, then don't complain if you are defeated. After the Commercial Creative Copyright Protection Regulations were formulated and passed and implemented, the State Ministry of Commerce, the Ministry of Information Technology, and the General Administration of Copyright jointly established the Commercial Creative Copyright Protection Office, referred to as the Creative Protection Office. The Creative Protection Office is responsible for the approval, supervision, and arbitration of commercial creative copyright. The department is not big, and its power is not small. The implementation of regulations and the establishment of the Creative Protection Office have indeed protected the interests of small and medium-sized internet companies to a large extent, giving them room for survival and development. At present, 3 of the 7 internet giants in China have grown up under the protection of this regulation. There are also many small and medium-sized creative enterprises that have benefited a lot. It makes everyone dare to innovate and dare to innovate. Interestingly, due to the excellent results of domestic commercial creative copyright protection regulations, European and American countries facing the same problem have also adopted similar programs and established corresponding institutions. As early as a month ago, Lu Chen asked Lu Shi, in the name of Lu Chen Studio, to apply for creative copyright protection in the crowdfunding model to the Creative Protection Office, but so far there has been no news. It is not easy to apply for copyright protection. The Creation Protection Office is not the Greater China Music Library, controlled by a supercomputer. It needs to be reviewed manually, and the process is naturally long. Also, due to some unclear factors, even if it was an original creative model, it might not be able to get the final approval. In the industry, this protection permit was also jokingly referred to as the Golden Permit. It was said that any company that obtained this certificate would immediately attract the attention of venture capital investors. Lu Chen didn't have the ambition to make a name for himself in the internet industry, but he didn't want to waste this great idea. Therefore, he asked Li Mubai to help him inquire about the progress of the review and see if there was any hope of it passing the review. If there was no hope, then he would directly operate the crowdfunding online and stop waiting. Li Murong finished reading Lu Chen's creative copy. He pondered for a moment and said, "Your idea for this project is very interesting, but does it involve private fundraising? Private fundraising is a minefield. The crime of illegal fundraising is very serious. The crowdfunding model is really similar." Lu Chen replied without hesitation. From the point of view of business and capital flow, crowdfunding is actually a form of group buying, which is essentially different from illegal fundraising. All project crowdfunding cannot be rewarded with equity or funds, and project sponsors cannot promise any financial benefits to supporters. They must be rewarded in kind, services, or media content. Support for a project is a purchase, not an investment. With a confident look on his face, he continued. For example, I want to make a record, launch crowdfunding on the platform, and call on fans to subscribe. As long as the funds needed for production and distribution are met, it will be declared a success. This model can also be extended to more levels, such as the development of new products, the production of records can be crowdfunded, the publication of books can be crowdfunded, the making of movies can be crowdfunded, and even charity relief can be completed through crowdfunding. For this project, Lu Chen rummaged through the memories he got in the dream world. Many details were firmly remembered by him, so in the face of Li Murong's questioning, his answer was watertight. This kind of confident confidence made Lu Chen show a certain temperament and charm that did not match his age. Su Daiwan, who was sitting next to Li Murong, brightened her eyes. She didn't know what to think of, but she nodded slightly, and a smile appeared in her eyes. Clap! Clap! As soon as Lu Chen's voice fell, Li Murong clapped his hands. The Li family's eldest young master praised. "It's wonderful. This is the best new creative model I have heard in recent years." He turned to Li Mubai and said, "Mubai, of all the friends you know, only Lu Chen is really worth associating with. It's not in vain that I came here tonight." Li Mubai scratched his head and laughed a little stupidly. Lu Chen said with a smile, "Big brother Li is too complimentary. In fact, it's just a small idea." Li Murong shook his head. "Even if it's a small idea, it also has gold value. The core of your crowdfunding platform's profit is the project commission, right? Then how to ensure the success of the project and the project sponsor will not run away with the money is probably the biggest problem. Strict project review is needed. You can't do it alone. The crowdfunding model is mainly composed of three parties: the project sponsor, the supporter, and the platform. If the crowdfunding fails, it is simple. Just return the money directly to the supporter, but if the project fails in the implementation process, it means that the supporter will not get any compensation. This is the platform's disclaimer, but the failure of the project will also hit the enthusiasm and confidence of the supporters, which means a loss of credibility for the crowdfunding platform. Li Murong's question can be said to have hit the nail on the head. Lu Chen said calmly, "Yes, because at present I set up this platform to serve myself. If I expand in the future, I will definitely introduce professional managers and work out more complete and secure terms." Li Murong nodded with satisfaction. Among the young people nowadays, there are very few who are as calm as Lu Chan and do things after careful consideration. He said with a smile, I almost forgot that you are an artist. This is not a belittling but a compliment, because Lu Chan behaves more like a business elite. What's wrong with being an artist? As a result, Su Dawon disagreed and said angrily, I'm still an artist. Li Muren chuckled and didn't explain. He just gently held her hand, his eyes full of affection. Su Daiwan blushed and bowed her head shyly. Li Mubai finally couldn't help it and shouted, Big brother, don't show your affection to sister-in-law. After saying so much, can you help or not? This Li family's third young master's idea is very simple. Just say it or not. Why talk so much? Big brother is really not straightforward. With Li Murong's self-restraint, he couldn't help but glare at his younger brother. He thought about it and said, Lu Chen, to what extent are you going to do with this project? Lu Chen's heart moved and he said, My original idea was to make a quick sum of money. If Big Brother Li is interested, you are very welcome to invest in it. Controlling shares is not a problem. Lu Chen originally planned to serve himself first after getting the Gold Life permit. If there is a venture capital that is interested, he will sell it as long as the price is reasonable. He believes that the money is enough to pay off his family's debts and there is still excess. If Li Murong is interested, that would be great. With the other party's family background and bearing, it is impossible to do anything to him by force. Even if the situation really happens, it's not a big deal to repay Li Mubai's favor. With the memory wealth of a world, Lu Chan is fearless. His dream has always been to stand on the brilliant highest stage, and it has never changed. But intuition tells Lu Chan that Li Murong may not be interested in it. Li Murong smiled and said, I told you that Mubai has met a real friend. Well, you two can work together to run this crowdfunding platform. You can discuss the shares yourself. What? Li Mubai immediately jumped up and shouted, I don't want to do it. How can I rob Brother Chen's shares? Sit down. Li Murong shouted. What do you mean by robbing? You have to pay for your own investments and shares to help your friends start their career, so that you don't have to drink and pick up girls all day. Look at what you have fallen into now. Besides, if you don't have a share, in what name will I get involved in this matter? Do you think the people in the Creative Protection Office are so easy to talk to that you can ask them to help with a meal? Li Mubai suddenly wilted like a frosted eggplant. He sat down again honestly, his eyes rolling. Li Murong sneered. You don't want to be slippery. After investing and buying shares, the family won't give you money. You have to earn it by yourself. Otherwise, you will obediently listen to the family's arrangement and marry the one in the Wang family and have children. Li Mubai looked as if he had been struck by 5 thunders, and he had a look of no love in life. Li Murong gave him another fatal blow. Mushi will return to China next month. This project will just let her practice and supervise you by the way. In the future, there will be no shortage of your share in the family's business. You can't lose it all. Li Mushi. Hearing the name, Li Mubai trembled all over and his face changed. He suddenly fell to the ground and hugged Su Daiwan's leg. Sister-in-law, help. Chapter 158. Su Daiwan also can't save Li Mubai's life. Li Murong's meaning is very clear. He has no intention of investing in Lu Chen's crowdfunding website, but he wants Li Mubai to team up with Lu Chen to prevent him from idling around all day and damaging the Li family's reputation. Speaking of which, Li Mubai himself bumped into the door. Otherwise, Li Murong really wouldn't have found a suitable opportunity. Aren't you loyal and want to help your friends? Alright, then I'll do something serious. Li Murong belongs to the kind of person with extremely firm will. Since he has made up his mind, it's useless for Li Mubai to beg anyone. Not to mention that Su Dawon also supports her husband's idea. This makes Lu Chen feel a little guilty. Li Mubai was dragged into the water by himself, but he also thinks that Li Murong's approach is okay. Li Mubai has a very good character. He doesn't have the extravagance of a rich child, but if he squanders his money at home like this, he will also be crippled in the long run. As a friend, Lu Chen is pleased to be able to cooperate the crowdfunding website with Li Mubai. Because he came up with this idea first and foremost to serve himself, he has no intention or energy and strength to make it bigger and stronger. Li Mubai is different. Looking at his elder brother's demeanor, if he supports it from behind, As long as he gets the Creative Protection Certificate, he may be able to become another ID Photo. ID Photo is a famous image-sharing website in the United States. The founder is a technical otaku named Rodney. In 2010, he set up this personal website at home and has been independently maintained and operated by himself. By 2013, ID Photo's users had soared to 30 million, and then it was acquired by Windows for $1 billion, becoming a legend in the IT world. Lu Chun is familiar with the story of ID Photo. The inspiration of the crowdfunding website is not unrelated to this legend. Although he does not expect to become Rodney, it is not a dream to make a bucket of gold with crowdfunding. In addition to submitting an application for creative protection to the Creative Protection Office, Lu Chun also asked Lu Xi to submit the same registration documents to FSK in the United States and OKI in the European Union, which are currently awaiting review. The FSK was the American version of the Commercial Creative Copyright Protection Office, and its regulations covered Japan and Korea. Li Murong ignored his younger brother's wailing. He said to Lu Chun, "It's decided. I'll still say the same thing. You two friends should discuss and solve the specific shares by yourselves. It's best to set up a new company to specialize in operation and management. I'll let Musher help you." Li Murong deliberately explained. Mushi is Mubai's sister. She just graduated from Wharton Business School this year. Wharton School of Business. Lu Chun couldn't help but think of Su Xian's smile. Wasn't she studying at Wharton? Li Murong continued. As for creative protection, I'll take care of it. You don't need to worry about anything. Choose a time to launch the website first. If even I can't handle it. He didn't finish his sentence, but Lu Chun understood what he meant. If you can't even deal with Li Murong, don't expect to get the all-important certificate. And if he can get the certificate, then there is no problem at all with the online crowdfunding operation first. Who will pay attention to a small website that has just been launched? On the internet, there are countless websites that are opened and closed every day. Most importantly, Li Murong seems very confident about this, and it is estimated that it will not be difficult to pass. Lu Chun said sincerely, "Thank you, Big Brother Li." Li Murong's solution is undoubtedly the most suitable for Lu Chun. In this way, he can be a hands-off shopkeeper. He doesn't need to worry about the online crowdfunding, and can always focus his career on his acting career. Li Murong smiled faintly and said, "I want to thank you for letting my younger brother have a serious job to do." Lu Chun was speechless. At this time, Su Daiwan asked softly, "Are you done talking about your business?" Li Murong looked at his wife in surprise and nodded. "Yes." Su Daiwan smiled sweetly and said, "Then I have something to ask Lu Chun." "Lu Chun, do you mind?" Lu Chun quickly said, "I don't mind, sister-in-law." Su Daiwan blinked and asked, "Lu Chun, do you have a girlfriend now?" Li Murong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He thought his wife had something important to ask Lu Chun. But Su Daiwan obviously thinks this question is very important, and she is very serious. This question Lu Chun felt a little embarrassed but calmly replied, "Not at present." Su Daiwan asked, "Why not? A handsome and talented boy like you. There must be a lot of girls who take the initiative to pursue you, right? Isn't it too demanding? Or is it because you are an artist?" There was a faint smile in her eyes. Lu Chun is under a lot of pressure. To be honest, even when facing Li Murong just now, he was not under so much pressure. After thinking about it, Lu Chun told the truth. "Sister-in-law, in fact, I don't have the idea of making a girlfriend for the time being. At present, I mainly focus on my career and want to make more money to help my family, so..." Lu Chun is not a stupid person. How can he not hear that Su Daiwan is trying to be a matchmaker for him? But he really doesn't have that idea right now. Li Murong said, "Well, a man should focus on his career. If he is successful in his career, why would he be afraid of not having a girlfriend?" Su Daiwan rolled her eyes at him and continued to ask, "Listening to you, your family situation is not good?" After winning the championship of Singing China, Lu Chun's family background has long been exposed on the internet, so he had nothing to hide and told Su Daiwan briefly. Su Daiwan was moved inside. "Auntie is really strong. If I have the chance, I want to visit her." Li Murong also nodded. Keeping promises and women are not inferior to men. This moral character can make many people feel ashamed. Her husband left the family and her life has fallen. Under the circumstances that it is difficult to maintain a livelihood, she can still insist on paying off huge debts. Such a promise and responsibility is not something that ordinary people can do. Su Daiwan's eyes softened. Then you and your sister must have had a hard time, right? Lu Chan said. It was very hard in the past few years, but this year it's much better. I've made a lot of money. He looked at Li Mubai and said, It's all thanks to Mubai's help. Li Mubai chuckled and stuck out his chest proudly. Su Daiwan pursed her lips and said with a smile, I know you have a good relationship. I also know that you wrote a song for him called Li Bai and asked him to pretend to pick up girls, right? Li Mubai, as if struck by lightning, suddenly said, Sister-in-law, how did you know? He thought that only he and Lu Chen knew about it. Su Daiwan glanced at him. Don't insult everyone's IQ, okay? Li Mubai wilted again. Su Daiwan knocked Li Mubai with a stick and asked Lu Chan, I like your song very much. Was that song You Who Sat Next to Me written for your first girlfriend? Her eyes sparkled with a moving light and she seemed to be very interested. Lu Chan said with a wry smile, Sort of. First love is unforgettable. It is simple love, pure love. Some people will fight for their first love to the end, and some people have no choice but to say goodbye. But everyone will always remember their first love, because it is the most sincere feeling, without any distracting thoughts. When Lu Chan sang, You Who Sat Next to Me, he often recalled his first girlfriend. Su Daiwan smiled and said, She is my fan. Are you still in touch with her now? Lu Chan shook his head. I haven't been in touch for a long time. She moved to Xiangjiang with her family when she was in the second year of high school. Speaking of this, Lu Chan couldn't help saying, In fact, she prefers Taiwan and often says that she wants to live in Taipei. Taipei? Su Daiwan repeated the word softly, with a faint sadness in her eyes. I haven't been back for many years, but I often think of the rain in Taipei and the snow in Yangming Mountain. Lu Chen's heart moved and he said, Sister-in-law, I didn't bring any gifts when I came to visit you this time. I'll give you a song. Su Daiwan immediately brightened her eyes. Okay. The light that bloomed on her face was so dazzling that Li Murong, Li Mubai and Lu Chan were all stunned. Li Murong reacted quickly and immediately held Su Daiwan's hand and glared at Li Mubai and Lu Chan. This is your sister-in-law. Don't think too much. Su Daiwan stood up happily and said, I haven't sung for a long time. Lu Chan, I'll accept this gift. Shall we go to the piano room and listen to you sing first? Do you know how to play the piano? Lu Chan originally wanted to go back and write the score and fill in the lyrics, and then let Li Mubai pass it on. He didn't expect that Su Daiwan couldn't wait to hear it now. Of course, he didn't want to spoil the other party's fun, so he nodded at once. After all, it was a wealthy family. The villa where Li Mubai lived not only had a separate tea room, but also a large piano room. The piano room was next to the tea room. It was very clean and tidy. On the cherrywood floor, there was an amazing black horizontal grand piano. Lu Chan easily distinguished the golden harp logo imprinted on the lid of the grand piano Steinway. Steinway is one of the most famous piano brands in the world, and the price is also astonishingly expensive. Such a Steinway usually appears in top orchestras and music academies. Several million yuan apiece. Lu Chan couldn't afford it even when his family was in the best condition. Su Daiwan smiled and said to Lu Chan, When I used to live here with your big brother, I often played the piano for him. I haven't touched this piano for a long time. She went to the front of the piano and stretched out her slender hand and slid it over the keys. The beautiful sound of the piano floated out like running water. Su Daiwan's face was full of memories and joy, as if she remembered many good things in the past. Looking at his wife, Li Murong's resolute face softened. After a moment, Su Daiwan said, Lu Chan, I'll listen to you now. Lu Chan nodded and sat down on the piano stool. He took a long and deep breath. Chapter 159. Lu Chan used to study the piano, but he didn't study it deeply. At most, he was at the level of level 4 or 5. Later, he switched to guitar, and the piano was naturally abandoned. It wasn't until recently that he picked it up again. Playing the piano is a very pretentious thing, and it is used as an excellent accompaniment, especially for romantic and lyrical songs. The accompaniment effect of the piano is not comparable to other instruments, so Lu Chan put in a lot of effort to practice. There's no need to reach a professional level. It's enough to bluff laymen. Most importantly, if you put aside your utilitarian heart, practicing playing the piano is actually a very happy thing. Listening to the beautiful piano music flowing through your fingertips, your mind can be sublimated. Luchan has never played such an expensive piano. The timbre of this Steinway is excellent. Even with his not very professional ears, he can hear the huge difference between it and an ordinary piano. Its bass is incomparably strong, its alto is warm and wide, and its treble is bright and gorgeous. In particular, its alto is the best, with a strong appeal and expressive power. It is worthy of the name of the piano emperor. Playing the Steinway, Luchan felt a lot of pressure. He was afraid that his bad skills would tarnish this million-yuan artifact. But he was still confident. When his fingers gently pressed on the warm keys, his mood quickly returned to peace. Then he played the prelude. Soothing, soft, uncomplicated structure, and the pleasant sound of the piano echoed in the piano room. The name of this song is Come to Taipei to Watch the Rain in Winter. Come to Taipei to watch the rain in winter. Don't cry in a foreign land. Come to Taipei to watch the rain in winter. Dreams are the only luggage. Come back softly and don't wake up the past. Just pretend that I've never been far away. If we meet and hide the words in our hearts, no one knows you better than I do. The sky is still the sky, the rain is still the rain. There's no longer you under my umbrella. I'm still me, you're still you, it's just one more winter. Oh! When Luchan began to play and sing, Su Daiwan half leaned on Li Murong and looked at him with a smile. However, when she heard the first line of the lyrics, her delicate body couldn't help but tremble. There was a complicated look in her eyes. Come to Taipei to Watch the Rain in Winter is a lyrical song about a lost love. Although the mood expressed in the lyrics is a lingering sense of loss, revealing the singer's inner melancholy, but still able to face reality optimistically. The tune of this song was lyrical and calm, with a kind of simple and elegant beauty, which was very suitable for a female voice to sing. When Luchan sang this song, he weakened the melancholy and increased the sense of maturity and depth. With a slightly bitter but clear and smooth voice, and the slightly lonely feelings in his heart, he performed the song with a different kind of charm. Because there was no amplification equipment, he deliberately lowered the sound of the piano, which also reduced the appeal of many works. But it still poked Su Daiwan's tears. Su Daiwan grew up in Taipei. Her family was not well off. She went out to work before finishing high school. Later, she was discovered by a star scout and entered the entertainment industry. With her excellent appearance and natural singing voice, her star future was extremely bright. But only she knew how difficult those days were. On the surface of the incomparably glorious life was hidden a dangerous current. Her father who was addicted to gambling, her agent who had ulterior motives, the company she signed with was cold and heartless, and her competitors who were jealous of her. It was as if a mountain was pressing on her, making it hard for her to breathe. Recalling the past, Su Daiwan felt that she was so lucky. In her most difficult time, she met Li Murong. So they formed a lifelong destiny. She and he met on a rainy day. Li Murong took her and her sister back to the mainland to settle down, and she never returned to Taipei after she quit singing. Only in her dreams did Su Daiwan dream of the rain in Taipei, and those who used to be familiar with her. It's hard to leave her homeland. Li Murong is not her first love either. Come to Taipei to watch the rain in winter. Don't cry in a foreign land. Come to Taipei to watch the rain in winter, maybe I'll meet you. The streets are deserted, but the mind is crowded. There are memories in every corner. If we meet, there's no need to escape, I'll eventually pass by. The sky is still the sky, the rain is still the rain. I'm no longer familiar with this city. I'm still me, you're still you, it's just one more winter. Unknowingly, crystal tears fell from the corners of Su Daiwan's eyes, and she leaned weakly into Li Murong's arms. Li Murong hugged his wife and stared at Luchan with rather unkind eyes. This kid, did he do it on purpose? Fortunately, Luchan didn't repeat it after singing it once. Clap! Clap! Su Daiwan straightened up, wiped away the tears on her face, and clapped her hands with a smile. Li Mubai also applauded. He didn't have the same feeling as Su Daiwan. He just felt that the song was good. As for why his sister-in-law cried, Li Bai wouldn't think about it. That's Big Brother's job. Luchan stood up and said, Sister-in-law, I'm really sorry. This song is not very suitable. He just felt something in his heart, and suddenly thought of this song. He didn't think too much about it and took it out. Now that he thought about it, it felt a little inappropriate. No, Su Daiwon said without hesitation. This song is very good, very good. I like it. She looked at her husband and said coquettishly, You can't be unhappy. I've thought about it. I'm going to release another album. Li Mubai supported. Sister-in-law is mighty. Li Murong couldn't help glaring at Lu Chan, the culprit, and said with a wry smile, It's good that you like it. Li Muro knew that Su Daiwon was actually very lonely with him. She had no relatives or friends on the mainland. After her sister went abroad, she was even more lonely. He was often busy with work and social activities, and didn't have much time to accompany her. Su Daiwon only has him, and he has 3 wives. Most importantly, the two have been together for so long, but they haven't had children yet. The guilt in his heart made Li Murong fade his resentment towards Lu Chan and agreed to her request without hesitation. Su Daiwon said happily, After the album, I'm going to have another concert or a fan meeting. I wonder how many people still remember me now? Lu Chan, help me write 2 more songs. Lu Chan couldn't help looking at Li Murong. It seems to be a big deal. Su Daiwon hugged her husband's arm hard and said with a smile, You promised me that you wouldn't interfere in my affairs. I'm going to get sick from boredom at home. Let's just look for a job. Okay. The tears on her face were not dry, but her smile was as gorgeous as spring flowers with a charming charm. Li Murong sighed and said, Can I say no? Su Daiwon shook her head. No. Li Murong nodded. Li Mubai was eager to see the world in chaos. Sister-in-law, if you release an album and hold a concert, I'll pull all my friends to support you. Lu Chan, however, had a feeling of opening Pandora's box and hurriedly said, It's getting late. Brotherly sister-in-law, I'll go back first. Su Daiwon reminded, Don't forget to write songs for me. Lu Chan coughed twice and said, Well, I'll write it and ask Mubai to give it to you. He winked at Li Mubai. Li Mubai was not too stupid after all. He immediately said, Don't worry, sister-in-law. I'm responsible for supervising Brother Chen's songwriting. I'll take him back. It's not easy to get a taxi here. Li Murong waved his hand. Go. He was a little annoyed to look at these 2 guys. Lu Chan was relieved and hurriedly followed Li Mubai to leave. Su Daiwon and Li Murong sent him to the door. After Li Mubai drove Lu Chan away, Su Daiwon asked Li Murong, What do you think of Lu Chan? Li Murong said in a bad mood, Not so good. Su Daiwon was startled at first, and then immediately laughed and trembled. You're not jealous, are you? Li Murong had a sullen face and didn't speak. Su Daiwon was not afraid, because she knew her husband very well, and knew that Li Murong was pretending on purpose. She said with a smile, What do you think if I introduce him to Xiaoqian? Li Murong was stunned and said, You want to introduce Lu Chan to Chunqian? Su Daiwon was a little unhappy. What's with your expression? Isn't my sister good? Xiaoqian is so beautiful. She just likes to play. Lu Chan is tall, handsome and talented. It's rare that he is also very steady and sensible. He should be able to control her. Chunqian is Su Daiwon's younger sister, but Su Daiwon follows her father's surname, while her younger sister follows her mother's surname. Li Murong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He never understood why women always like to matchmake for others. But introducing Lu Chan to Chunqian, it sounds very interesting. He couldn't help touching his chin and said, Okay, I'll listen to you. I'm afraid that Chunqian doesn't like Lu Chan. Su Daiwon said confidently, She will listen to me. Li Murong shook his head secretly. He suddenly bent down to pick up Su Daiwon and said, Don't talk about them. Let's do our own things. We'll stay here tonight. Su Daiwon giggled, her eyes were as soft as water, and the air seemed to have a charming taste. At this moment Lu Chan didn't know that he was being remembered. He was riding in Li Mubai's sports car and galloping on the second ring road. Li Mubai said as he drove, Brother Chan, you have to help me with the website. Big brother is going to cut off my pocket money. I can't live like this. Lu Chan thought for a moment and said, If you can get a protection certificate, the online crowdfunding is promising. In fact, you don't need to take care of it personally. At worst, you can hire a professional manager. Usually, you just need to pull business. In any business, early networking is very important. In the early stage of the online crowdfunding, as long as you can pull in a few powerful big customers and put the brand on the track, the later business will be very easy to do. Pull business? Li Mubai immediately relaxed. That's simple. I still have a lot of friends in Beijing. He knew that networking can make money, but he had never thought of making money by networking before. Lu Chan said with a smile, "We already have our first business. In a few days my album will be on sale on QQ Music. I want to launch a crowdfunding campaign for the album at the same time, hoping to get a good start. After preparing for so long, the real test time is coming." Note: coming to Taipei to watch the rain in winter lyricist. Li Ziheng / Wu Ruochuan / composer. Jin Taizhong. Chapter 160. On September 5th, Lu Chen's debut album, You Who Sat Next to Me, was pre-promoted in QQ Music. This album, which took more than 2 months to complete, is undoubtedly the real business focus of Lu Chen's studio after its establishment. Its sales success or failure has a great impact on Lu Chen's status in the pop music world. No independent artist has released his first solo album so soon after his debut. As a newly famous singer-songwriter, Lu Chen's talent is beyond doubt. Many of his songs have been on the original music list, and the live version of the original works in Singing China has also frequently been on the QQ Music list. QQ Music, therefore, there are many people in the circle who are paying attention to the online sale of this album, but not everyone is optimistic about the sales of You Who Sat Next to Me. There are many negative voices in the Waves blog. First of all, Lu Chan did not make great efforts to promote and hype the album. He advertised in his blog, and the publicity position on the QQ Music website was also very ordinary, giving people the feeling that he was shy and reluctant to spend money. Nowadays, it's basically a fool's dream for artists to become popular without packaging promotion. If a new singer's album doesn't spend a lot of effort on publicity and hype, its sales are often very poor. Relevant stakeholders such as websites and portal media such as QQ Music will also intentionally or unintentionally ignore it, and will not easily give free publicity resources. This is the unspoken rule in the industry. Like Lu Chen's original works in Singing China, many songs have been on the hit list and download list of QQ Music, but with the end of Singing China, they quickly fell off the list and disappeared. The reason is very simple. Lu Chan did not spend money on advertising in QQ Music. How could he occupy such important promotion resources for nothing? Being able to appear on the list is already a great deal of face. If QQ Music was not a partner of Beijing Television's Singing China, it is estimated that it would not have a chance to be on the list at all. This time, Lu Chan officially cooperated with QQ Music. The latter took away the exclusive sales rights, and a small advertising space still has to pay 100,000 yuan in real money. Under normal circumstances, with the power of the champion of Singing China, Lu Chen's album still has a lot of promise. But he just had to run into a few strong opponents. The first opponent, Cui Zhangji, was the runner-up of Shonan TV's Super Male Voice in 2014, signed to Orangefield Entertainment, and on September 1st promoted his debut album Provocation in QQ Music. This Chinese-Korean idol singer was the new artist being promoted by the industry giant Changtian Entertainment. After nearly a year of brewing, his album is absolutely excellent. Its title song Provocation is currently ranked first on the QQ Music Network hit list, which can be described as aggressive. To Zhou Bei is the winner of the 2015 Ace Variety Show. She signed to Star Media, which happened to be the holding company of Starlight Show. Zhou Bei, a graduate of Huin, is a real talented woman. She also brought her debut album Blooming Flower, which began to warm up on QQ Music on September 2nd. As for the third opponent, it is undoubtedly Lu Chen's old acquaintance Ling Xiaoxiao. Ling Xiaoxiao performed poorly in the final of Super Singer, and only got 5th place. Strictly speaking, his defeat really had something to do with Lu Chan. The fan groups of the two sides once fought to the death on Waves blog, and in the end Lu Chan won. This time Ling Xiaoxiao took his debut album True Love is Invincible to Lu Fei QQ Music against Lu Chan, which undoubtedly carried a strong taste of revenge. Ling Xiaoxiao's signing company is Jin Hongwei's Juxing Corporation. His solo album and Lu Chen's production time should be about the same, and the pre-promotion began on September 3rd. 4 new artists and singers debuted their solo albums on QQ Music at the same time, and carried out intensive publicity and pre-promotion at such a time. Such a situation has never happened in the history of QQ Music website. Generally speaking, unless it is a sworn enemy or deliberate hype, there is a tacit understanding between entertainment record companies and agencies. The debut albums of their artists will often stagger the publicity period to avoid the situation of fighting against each other. The competition in the pop music world is also very fierce. Every year, a large number of newcomers emerge. Those who are qualified to release albums are all characters promoted by various companies. No one wants to fight with their opponents at a critical moment. Killing 1,000 enemies may hurt oneself 800. And Orangefield Entertainment, Starlight Media and Jushin Corporation are all top or first-class companies in the industry. It can be imagined how fierce the scene will be when the 3 parties fight together. In fact, the main advertising space of QQ Music website has basically been divided up by the 3 companies, and in blogs, forums, post bars and other places, their publicity offensive is very fierce. In contrast, Liu Chan is simply pitifully weak. To put it simply, after Liu Chan made his debut in Singing China and won the championship, he did not participate in any notices, nor did he shoot advertisements or hold fan meetings to brush his face. He was so low-key that he was simply not like an artist. Cui Zhengji, Zhou Bei and Ling Xiaoxiao, which one of them is not promoting themselves everywhere? In today's fast-paced era, the ups and downs of star idols are very frequent. It is very easy for fans to like the new and dislike the old. Artists who do not often appear in entertainment news will soon be forgotten. Liu Chan has the strength, but if he doesn't take on any notices or hype up, the popularity that he has accumulated with great difficulty will soon be exhausted. Now is not the 1980s or 1990s, when a popular song can be sung for more than 10 or 20 years. Our biggest problem is that most of the songs in the album have resources on the internet. Liu Chan's studio, Liu Shi's manager's office temporarily served as a small meeting. Except for Chan Xiaomei, the receptionist, all the other members of the studio were present, including Li Mubai. Her sister rubbed her wrinkled eyebrows and said helplessly, "So fans won't have a strong desire to buy." Compared with the albums of Cui Zhangji, Zhou Bei and Ling Xiaoxiao, Liu Chen's album, You Who Sat Next to Me, is very transparent. All 10 songs can be found on the internet as free resources. Lacking a sense of mystery and expectation, Big naturally reduces the desire to buy. Especially in the face of strong competition, many pop music lovers are likely to search for pirated content on the internet after Liu Chen's album goes on the shelves, and are more willing to spend money on the other 3's new albums. Now Liu Shi has become more and more involved in the role of studio manager and agent. She spends a lot of time every day to understand the news developments on the internet and in the circle, and racked her brains to come up with ideas for Liu Chan. She said, "I just received a call from the head of QQ Music Business, asking if we need to postpone the album's release time, so as not to collide with Cui Zhangji. According to the agreement reached between the studio and QQ Music, You Who Sat Next to Me will be pre-promoted on September 5th and officially launched on September 8th. Cui Zhangji's Provocation was also launched on the same day. This new generation of idol in the entertainment industry is not an ordinary figure. His father is a famous actor in China, and his mother is a well-known artist in South Korea, so he has a wide network and many supporters in the circle. Changtian Entertainment, which he signed up with, is a big company in the industry with many star idols under its banner, and has a very close cooperation with Shonan TV, which is just short of wearing the same pair of pants. With connections and background, and the support of top companies, Cui Zhangji is handsome and fashionable. He is a model of the Korean-style fresh meat that is very popular with young people at present. The fans of his Waves blog are close to 10 million. No matter how many real fans or zombie fans there are, in terms of popularity alone, he absolutely crushes Liu Chan. Cui Zhangji's debut album can be said to be highly anticipated. But such a coincidence to collide with Liu Chan was very intriguing. It should be known that generally speaking, the interval between the pre-promotion and the launch on the QQ Music website will not be too long. 3 or 4 days is the best, and 5 days is also fine, but Cui Zhangji's publicity began on the 1st. Zhou Bei's album went on sale yesterday, and Ling Xiaoxiao's album is today. The people present smelled a strong smell of conspiracy. Li Feiyu, Chen Xian and others couldn't help showing a worried look. Even Li Mubai, who has always been big, straightened his back and sat up straight. This third young master Li originally came to make himself known. But the debut of Lu Chen's album really has something to do with him. Because he is the core figure of Lu Chen's fan group, he is an indispensable existence. It's just that Li Mubai didn't expect that releasing an album would be so troublesome and involve so many problems. He couldn't help muttering, "Your circle is really messy." Well, this sentence was also told to him by Lu Chan. Everyone is not a fool. No one will forget the grievances between Lu Chan and Shonan TV. To say that it was purely a coincidence would be a bit of an insult to their IQ. Of course, a behemoth like Shonan TV may not care about Lu Chan at all, but as a partner, Changtian Entertainment may not be so. They will certainly be happy to let Cui Zhangji step on Lu Chan. On the other hand, Ling Xiaoxiao, who has had a direct conflict with Lu Chan, is not much of a threat because everyone knows what kind of goods he is, and the quality of his album is estimated to be unlikely to be very high. Lu Shi analyzed that Ling Xiaoxiao was involved, and most likely he wanted to take advantage of the situation to hype up. 4 new singers are fighting for the debut of their albums in QQ Music, which is undoubtedly a good hype hotspot. Jin Hongwei is a famous hype king in the industry. There are wolves in front and tigers behind, so how should Lu Chan face their challenges? Everyone's eyes were focused on him. Lu Chan was unexpectedly calm and said with a smile, "In fact, everyone thinks too seriously about the problem." His smile was still full of confidence. Chapter 161. Lu Shi, Chen Xian, Li Feiyu, Chen Xiang and Li Mubai. Lu Chen's bright eyes slowly swept across the faces of all the people present. Some of them are Lu Chen's relatives, some are friends, some are former colleagues, and some are original fans. Due to fate, everyone sat here together and formed a small team. No matter what profession they used to be or what job they did, now everyone is a newcomer who broke into the entertainment industry. They lack enough experience and strength, and are full of confusion about the future. What makes Lu Chan confident is the unity of this team. The current studio is like a seedling that has just sprouted, still very fragile, but the roots that support the tender leaves are flexible and full of vitality. Even in the face of the crushing of the big stone and the baptism of the storm, they still have the strength to persist. He is fearless. In fact, everyone thinks too seriously about the problem. Lu Chan said with a smile, "We don't need to defeat anyone. As long as this album is on the shelves and sells, it will be a success. And we don't need to try our best to compete with others for the sales list. The key is whether we can recover our costs. Our cost is very low. The production cost of the album You Who Sat Next to Me is unimaginable to most people in the industry. Generally speaking, the production cost of a qualified or even excellent complete album ranges from hundreds of thousands to millions. It is normal to exceed 1 million. If you add in the publicity cost, it can reach 3 or 4 million. And the entire production cost of You Who Sat Next to Me is only 100,000. All 10 songs were written by Lu Chan himself. He didn't need to spend a penny to buy songs from others, which saved at least hundreds of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of costs. It's normal for a songwriter with a good reputation to ask for tens of thousands of yuan for a song. Secondly, in terms of arrangement, accompaniment and recording, Lu Chan did not choose a first-class production unit in the industry, such as a big company like Tianjai Workshop, but put it in the little-known Nirvana Studios. This saved hundreds of thousands of yuan. According to Lin Jijia, music director of Flying Stone Records, the real value of the album produced by Nirvana Studios for Lu Chan should be between 200,000 and 300,000 yuan. He got a big bargain. The production cost of 100,000 yuan is only equivalent to the price of an ordinary advertising space on QQ Music Network for 10 days. Plus this advertising fee, excluding labor, the cost is only 200,000 yuan. According to the contract signed between Lu Chan Studio and QQ Music, You Who Sat Next to Me will only be sold as an album and not as a single. The price for ordinary members is 10 yuan per album, and VIP members will get a 20% discount. The share between Lu Chan Studio and QQ Music is 50%, and 50%. Even if they sell at the price Chen Studio, Chan and QQ Music, Zhang will sell the album to Chan. Such a profit margin is something that Cui Zhangji, Zobei or Ling Xiaoxiao can't catch up with. They have invested millions of dollars in advertising for the album. Plus the production cost, they have to sell at least 400,000 to 500,000 copies to break even. That is a sales performance that is completely impossible to achieve unless they cheat. Of course, whether it is Cui Zhangji, Zobei, or Ling Xiaoxiao, it is impossible for the company they signed to think about recovering the cost by selling albums online. They mainly make profits through artists' commercial performances, advertisements, peripherals, and so on. Therefore, the goals of the two sides are different from the beginning. Lu Qin's requirements are not high. He is very satisfied with recovering the cost. As long as the reputation of the album is built up, his position and style in the circle will be improved, and there will be plenty of opportunities to make money later. Therefore, Lu Qin doesn't need to compete with them, nor will he desperately throw money to gamble. We just need to do our own thing. Lu Qin said to everyone. What does it have to do with Cui Zhangji's album on the same day as him being strong? Our goal is to sell 50,000 copies. If we reach 50,000 copies, we will win. 50,000 is a piece of cake, Li Mubai said disapprovingly. Lu Zhejun has more than 50,000 members. There are more than 1 million fans in the live broadcast room, and there are still 5 million followers in the Waves blog. Lu Qin shook his head with a smile. In addition to Lu Zhejun's hardcore fans, it is completely unknown how many fans in the live broadcast room in Waves blog can be converted into paying users, especially since the number of blog fans is extremely high. The number of followers of his Waves blog exceeded 5 million, meeting the basic requirement of a big V, but passers-by accounted for most of them. Many of them were attracted by the last two blog battles and were not real fans. It would be naive to expect these passers-by fans to pay for songs. Of course, with the support of Lu Zhejun's hardcore fans, there should be no problem with 50,000 sales. Compared with the online sales of QQ Music, Lu Qin is actually more concerned about the album, which is really cool. Drop. At this time, Lu Xi's cell phone on her desk suddenly rang. She picked it up and checked it, and then turned on her computer. Xiaomei said there's news for us to see. Sister Xiaomei Chanxiumei works as a receptionist in Lu Qin's studio. In her spare time, she also helps Lu Xi search and browse the internet, especially the gossip news and insider news in the entertainment industry. She now sent a video link to Lu Xi's QQ. Cui Zhangji's. Lu Xi clicked on the link and turned the computer screen around for everyone to see. The source of the video is the Waves Entertainment channel. The content is an exclusive interview with Cui Zhangji by a reporter from Waves. Waves is one of the largest portals in China. It has two advantage resources, Waves blog and Waves games. Therefore, the entertainment channel of Waves has a great influence in the entertainment industry. But it is not easy to get an exclusive interview with Waves. Unless you have real talent, you must pay for it, which is also an important part of publicity and hype. On the 27-inch HD screen, Cui Zhangji is talking to the microphone of an entertainment reporter. The Waves entertainment reporter asked, Mr. Cui Zhangji, I heard that your debut solo album is about to be released, right? Cui Zhangji said with a smile. Yes, it will be released on QQ Music on the 8th of this month. You are welcome to subscribe and buy. Cui Zhangji is 20 years old this year, 2 years younger than Lu Qin. He first worked as a trainee in South Korea's KG agency for 3 years, and then returned to China to officially make his debut. Last year he participated in Shonan TV's Super Male Voice Talent show for the first time, and Cui Zhangji won the runner-up title. He can sing and dance and has a strong Korean star temperament, so he was loved by many boys and girls. Waves entertainment reporter. So what's the style of your album? Cui Zhangji replied without hesitation. Passion and enthusiasm can make everyone's heart beat faster. 4 of the 10 songs were written by me. I believe it won't disappoint everyone. The Waves entertainment reporter said with a smile. Everyone says that you are a very talented singer and songwriter. As far as I know, Lu Qin, the champion of this year's Singing China, will also debut his album on QQ Music on the same day. Do you have any pressure? Hearing the Waves entertainment reporter's obviously provocative question, everyone finally understood why Sister Xiaomei wanted to send this interview video to Lu Xi. No pressure at all. Cui Zhangji smiled confidently and said, Lu Qin is a very strong singer and songwriter, but I am better than him, and my album is better. so the winner must be me. He's so crazy. Chun Xian couldn't help saying. He doesn't put Brother Chun in his eyes. Li Mubai clenched his fists. This guy, Cui Jingji, was indeed crazy, and he was not just confident, as if his character was like this. But in the eyes of his fans, Cui Jingji was sincere and not hypocritical. He said what he wanted to say without hypocrisy. But if they really thought that he was not scheming and stupid, then they were wrong. The new artist who returned from South Korea knew how to look at the dishes under the pot. When he should be modest, he was still very modest. As for Lu Chun, he was obviously not the object of his modesty. The Waves entertainment reporter obviously liked this topic very much. He further asked, "Why are you so sure?" Several songs in Lu Chun's album have good reviews. Cui Jingji nodded and said, "The songs he wrote are good, but they are really out of date. They belong to the nostalgic style of the 1980s and 1990s, and I know what songs young people like me really like." What the F***ck? Li Feiyu's lungs were about to explode with anger when he heard this. It's so shameless. What he said was not bad, but in fact, he directly stepped on Lu Chun's soles. Anyone could hear the sarcasm in his words. It was fine to say this to others in private, but in a public interview he was so arrogant. Not to mention Li Feiyu, Li Mubai and others, even Lu Chun frowned. Even a clay figurine has 3 points of anger. If he was still indifferent when someone stepped on his head, what kind of man would he be? Lu Chun was not a teenage mutant ninja turtle. Chan Xiang said angrily. I used to like him, but now I know how annoying he is. Lu Shi's face was sullen. He is deliberately hyping up the topic. After a period of study and research, her sister has a basic understanding of all kinds of hype tricks in the entertainment industry. She could see at a glance what Cui Jingji and Waves Entertainment were doing. Such a method of hyping up could be considered to be very carefully controlled. But it was also unbearable. The key was that Cui Jingji was not afraid of being talked about. He had full confidence that he could beat Lu Chun in sales. With so many advertisements smashed down, Lu Chun could be smashed to death. The winner was not condemned, and fans would only praise him. Lu Chun suddenly smiled and said, "It seems that we really have to be serious. Sister, then let's also spend some money on online hype." No, it's publicity. Originally, Lu Chun didn't want to spend too much money on the promotion of this album, but now his idea has changed. Lu Shi's eyes suddenly lit up. Do you have any good ideas? Lu Chun said, "Let me think about it first." His eyes stared at Cui Jingji, who was in high spirits on the screen, and a little coldness appeared in his eyes. Since you want to fight, then let's fight to our heart's content.